located on Canyon Lake Road in Akron. So, town trivia to get started. Moving right along. First item on the agenda is Troy and Jacqueline Dunn from the Dunn Family Trust. Mr. Eggers is here, Planning Board 2024-375. Folks, this is a lot line improvement on 225 Clay Hill Road. Mr. Dunn is proposing to take his existing property with the property that he also owns outside of it, growing the existing parcel to add some property to that from taking it away from his other parcel. Mr. Eggers, anything I missed?
No, I just wanted to know if we have a existing acreage, but it's coming, it finishes up as just over an acre, almost 1.1
Yep.
acre. And the existing house parcel barely fit the house in the driveway.
All right, this is a great lot line, growing it to active size. So, Mr. Dunn, anything else on your side? I'm all set if you guys are. Questions, Dorian?
Don's presentation here.
Sure.
While lot that 300
Yep.
isn't listed on the application, it's in the information is available on the parcel view because it's affecting that lot. That 300.
Okay, yeah, so he owns the lot, the large lot surrounding it and this house size.
Right, but why is it 300 is not listed in the application? Because it's changing the size of it.
I don't know, could be just something from the code enforcement
What
officer.
is the remaining size of the lot?
The current size is, it's under an acre and it's gonna be just over an acre, I believe.
I don't know.
Oh,
That 300.
current is 37.4 and it's going to be 36.6.
Right, so why?
Right, 300, that was an earlier lot line adjustment we've done ages ago, and the conveyance from what is now the Bajada property there, and they conveyed that to Dunn, and the tax map kept it as a separate parcel. Never should have been kept as a separate parcel. That should have been merged, but
Okay.
sometimes they just don't change the tax map.
Sure.
That's why
It's all in the same deed now under Dunn's other lands. It's in the same deed.
Rick, you're all set?
Yeah, Bill, I'm sure it's right, but just help me with, you're taking, land from lot 16, I got it, and then lot 9.330. And on the map, or on the top on the left, it says 9.300. Is there a mistake in the numbers, or? You see in the inset?
Yeah.
Is there a mistake in those numbers? It says nine?
Yeah, okay. I see what you mean. Right, we got 9.30, and down here, it'll be taken from 9.330. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 300.
I think so too.
Just change, yeah,
Yep.
I think that's what I thought.
Good catch, Rick. Zach?
Nope.
Peter? Nothing. Paulina?
Nothing.
All right, can I have a motion for someone to certify the lot line as proposed with the proposed changes of the?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Rick, Zach, all in favor? Aye. How about, we'll try that one more time. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, guys, you're all set.
All right.
Thank you
very much.
All right, appreciate it. Sorry for the delay on the timing of the agenda. I apologize. Okay, guys. Okay, Jazz, you're all set. Moving on. Planning Board 2024-3, a special use permit for Big Net LLC, James O'Shea at 5164 Route 209. Jamie, how are you, buddy?
Good, how about you?
Good. Board, this is a reminder from what we talked about at the last meeting. A quick update. We asked Mr. O'Shea to go back, go to the ZBA to talk to them about the signage. They have decided against that idea and are going to go with the code with their signage plan. Additionally, on their map, they've added the ability to have EV car chargers, which they are actively ready to have that added. So we're ready to get that as well. Maps coming your way. We've already closed the public hearing on this one. I don't have any questions after Jamie has updated everything, but we'll go around the room quick. We'll start with Helena this time. Sure, Peter?
I have nothing.
Okay. Zach?
No question.
Where's the EV that you click it?
The EV is going to be on the right side if you're looking at the building on the Medicom side. Actually, Jamie put those in already and then had to take them out because we were during planning board review, and now he's going to get them pushed back in once we get this. That's okay, Zori?
I have a question.
Yep.
So those EV stations, how would cars get there? From what direction? Direction number one.
You can come off the Medica house.
Yeah, the Medica Hunts right here. And those will be EV charging stations only. So only electric cars can park
Right,
there as well.
but there would be some space.
Yes,
occupied,
yes.
should be shown.
This,
here.
this space here, it will be gravel, it actually already is.
So you're gonna add it to the plan?
Yeah,
And another question, would it be interfere with the truck traffic or charging gonna be on the weekends?
we were planning on leaving them open to the public as a community resource the whole time. I don't expect that the amount of truck traffic that we get and the amount of EV chargers we get are going to be in conflict with each other. If that were the case, we could reduce the hours that they're available since the popcorn is only open.
And you're gonna have a sign?
Yeah, I'll put signs that say electric charging only.
Yeah, the direction sign.
Yeah, yep.
Rick, do you have anything else? Okay. Elena, back to you. Okay. So I have a decision for this one, if we are ready. We need to do, did we close seeker? Yeah, we did seeker at the public hearing. We closed that already. Rick, two coming your way. You took that tie off just for me tonight. You had a hat. I was excited, maybe no tie. All right.
Want the hat instead of the tie?
It's the hat, you lose the tie. There you go. Now you're back.
Like a third party, like Charge Point or somebody,
Yeah, it's through the
because they
state.
they can program them on.
Yeah.
They
I'm
could
not,
make a variable rate.
yeah, I'm not positive how the actual administration of charge will work. It's over on the state time side, but it's through New York State, it's a New York State program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, so they have a preferred vendor.
yes, exactly.
Jamie, I'm gonna give you one of these to follow along. Yep. Had this ready for the last meeting, so we're gonna have some additions and some corrections, but we'll get there as we go. Okay, site plan special use permit for today's date, 26, 2024. This is a 2024-3 special use permit. Conditional approval of Big Net LLC. The applicant proposes to use approximately 10,000 square feet of an existing 30,000 square feet building to prepare, package, and distribute popcorn and related food products. A special permit is required for light manufacturing use. I am skipping to page number 2, special conditions of approval. The site, special use permit site plan approval shall supersede prior approvals for the site. The project shall comply at all times with general commercial and industrial standards specific for noise as defined in the Town of Rochester zoning code. Article 3, section 140-20F, including that all uses shall not generate cumulative sound levels, SPL, at or beyond any lot line that exceed the ambient noise level by 10 or more decibels. Any sound of 5 to 10 decibels above ambient shall be attenuated or mitigated. The project shall comply at all times with New York State DOT ingress and egress and signage requirements and Town of Rochester signage requirements. The project shall comply at all times with Town Code 140-20H related to illumination, property, and off-property. The others are standard. I'd like to add number 5 to that list in result to the EV chargers. EV chargers,
Part of the condition,
say it again.
part of the condition.
Yeah, EV chargers to be installed
And safe traffic,
and ensure
safe traffic.
safe traffic pattern and flow. Also, I'll do 5A is all EV chargers are available to all community members and customers. Okay, any questions on that?
You're going through the state program, is that what you're for some financing?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that program has public access rules.
yeah, probably.
The only concern I have, Dave, is if they would ever change those or buy them out, that if Charge Point were to come in, at least it's still open to the public.
Okay.
Because sometimes those programs
Just wanted
change,
to
the
make sure
funding
you're
changes.
not gonna conflict with,
Sure,
financing is arranged, that
right. I mean,
probably not.
I think everything here is clean, but if we are, just let me know. We can we can figure that.
Yeah, well, they'll check. With you.
Okay, any and all fees need to be paid to the town of Rochester. That's in here, but I'm not gonna go through these individual items. You need to get your final map. Your map needs to say final on it. It needs to be signed by you. 6 copies submitted to Jasmine, and I'll get that signed over. Effects of the approval of the special use site plan approval and associated conditions shall be binding upon the applicant and all successive owners of the land, so long as such use shall occur. This approval shall remain effective as an authorization to secure the required permits and establish the use for maximum 1 year from this date of approval, unless the applicant shall have submitted written request and the planning board shall have adopted such resolution granting an extension, provided the applicant has submitted proof of having diligently pursued the implementation of the plans. Board, if we're ready to vote, I'm going to change this date. Resolution including findings and conditions were adopted August 26th by the following votes. Motion, someone please. Motion from Zorian, second by Peter. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Jamie, you got some homework to do. We'll get that done and we're all set.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
guys.
All righty.
Send some popcorn your way.
Sounds great. We won't turn it down. Okay, Bill Eggers, you're back and final, 2024-20, a minor subdivision in R2 district, Peter Sutherland. Bill Eggers from Medenbach Eggers and Carr, located at 304 Stony Hill Road. The applicant is proposing a 3-lot subdivision which includes frontage on the Stony Hill and an existing dwelling. Board, if you remember this one, Mr. Eggers has an existing dwelling in the back of the property, and then they're subdividing 2 lots off on the front to make a total of 3 lots. We do have a public hearing tonight, so we can do that first. You have a sign-in sheet for that? Okay. We will get our ducks in a row in the past 2 while you get that. Okay.
You have maps for this?
Yeah, just coming right now. Okay, for the members of the public, this is for you. As we open the public hearing, here are a couple items for the public to be aware of and recognize. The public hearing is for the public to express their knowledge and or input about this specific project. The board will grant public comment to community members who have signed up on the clipboard at the table located at the entrance to the community center. Community members who have signed up will be granted between 3 and 5 minutes per person to speak. The opportunity to speak is not a question and answer from the board or the applicant, yet the opportunity to speak about the application and knowledge of the property that you may have. Comments should be related towards the health, safety, and welfare of the town of Rochester and the project in discussion. That being said, we will open the public hearing. I have 5 members who've signed up. We'll start with Allison Ward from 323 Stony Hill.
Can you go first?
Sure.
I thought we just had to sign it. Yeah.
You don't have to speak at all if you don't like to. Okay, Stephen Ward, you're up.
Hi, I'm Stephen. I live across from the proposed property.
Okay.
My main concerns are, for one, is more traffic on our road. Our road has probably a dozen new houses on. As far as the infrastructure of the road, our roads are falling apart. They're not safe as far as I'm concerned. There's many spots that you cannot even get 2 cars by. For that, you couldn't get a fire truck or anything in some spots. We've had situations before where you couldn't get vehicles through. To the property, I'm wondering about water drainage. The one partial from the main driveway that goes to the house now floods out there. That's all wet and wetland in that area. I'm not sure exactly. I have not seen a map where the proposed houses are going. For one, my well is across the road. I worry about, we have so many houses encroaching us, whether or not our vein will be tapped by that. Another reason is I happen to work for an electric utility. Our grid will not handle any more pretty much houses on our road. We currently used to be fed from towpath here. Now we're fed off of 4455, which is pretty much getting maxed out. All new houses, I understand, are all electric and things like that. Now they have electric charging and all that. It's pretty much maxing out our system. You know, there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of, you know, as far as traffic and things like that, it's constant anymore. I used to work a 4 to midnight shift, so I'm out in the yard all day long. It's like a highway. You know, I know there's more proposed houses up further at the upper end where it hits Granite. We have multiple Airbnbs. I understand, I've been to this before, and they say, well, it just ups the value of your house. I understand that. The people that are building here don't live here full time. We do. It just bumps our taxes up, makes it harder for us to live here as local people that contribute to the community. I feel like most of the people that are moving in here, I understand it may be a nice area for them and stuff, but, you know, my wife's family and stuff has been here since the beginning of these towns. So it's just my concern is when's enough as far as overload, as far as people and things like that. I know things are gonna develop, and that's the way time goes, but when's enough?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Allison, do you want to add to that?
No.
That's fine.
You pretty much said it.
I have, Mr. Hasbrook, Don?
Yes.
You like to share something, sir?
I know the same thing with Steve here. The traffic is enormous. I mean, in the morning, they go down like they go down 209, 40, 45 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. No shoulders on this road. You dig the ditch, if you go in, you'll be there with somebody to bring you out.
Understood.
Because, you know, it's bullshit. We lived there since 1947. I don't, you know, I know things are gonna get more as it goes on, you know. So, the other thing is, I haven't seen Mr. who owns the property there in quite a while. I used to run into him once in a while. I don't even know what he looks like anymore. Is he here?
No, his representative is here.
This one, Bill?
Bill's representing him.
Bill. How you been? Good. There's another one, go back. So we do have some folks beside us that come from the 40s.
Understood.
Are you, Mr. Grosso?
I am.
Yeah, I thought so. The other,
That's right.
yeah, I guess, you all guys know, I don't have to keep pounding about it, and you go, you try. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't, but if you don't say something, nothing.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you for coming.
all right. Tell you a minute, I said
I
hello.
will do. How about Rosemary? Anything to add? Understood.
Are we, not to butt in, are we allowed to see a print of what? the
Absolutely.
Alleged,
Yeah, so if you're interested in seeing what that looks like, you can go to the town clerk's office and file what they call a FOIL request, FOIL. And then they will get that information to you for you to review the plan. You can have a copy yourself. And I have Connie Rezowitz. I'm close. Okay.
that's it there,
I just wanna show you a picture
and I'm
in front of
walking
my
up to
house,
see it.
Okay.
what the road is looking
I
like.
can't.
He keeps getting, like, he can't pass on my road because they have to pull over into my driveway to let another car go.
Have you made that comment to the highway superintendent?
No.
Okay,
But here's, I'll show you a
That's a-
picture.
that's a good start.
This is what it looks like in front of my house.
Yeah, you need to notify the highway superintendent for sure.
It's like break them off, then you can't pass because there's a big tree there. If they pass, then they pull in my driveway and it's like.
Saying what?
Okay, any other members of the public on this application? Going once, twice? Okay. Want to close the public hearing in this situation?
I guess if there's nobody else, I think guess we could close that.
Is that gonna clear 40 foot?
We've never,
Say it again?
Is that gonna clear 40 feet from his line over where dwelling there? So his septic's gonna be at the back, this property in the back, very dramatic.
Understood. We have all the topo lines.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I went to, so. You know, is there any, you're gonna be closer enough to him with his drains and stuff, like, I live here, my well is right here.
Understood.
You know,
It
all
does-
the- All the water, this is his current driveway here,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
So, all the water goes through here, it comes down the road, cuts through by the rock wall and goes down through across his property. So,
So
there is also another old culvert here that needs to be redone, that also goes into the,
So those concerns that are with the road and structure of the road, that needs to go to the highway. You got,
don't get it done.
well, you need to make sure you have it on in record.
I'm sorry.
But to answer your question, you see the blue circle around that lot?
Yep.
That's the setback requirements from the Board of Health on how far that needs to be. So it
Needs to
looks
be.
like we're well in excess of the setbacks. All right, okay.
So, well, the only
Yeah.
comment I have, I don't know that we've ever done this before. And maybe it'd be a good practice in the future. Well, I think all of these concerns are here on the planning board's purview. Electric grid is not on purview.
Yep.
The roads, Stony Hill is not on purview.
Right.
Drainage of the road is not on purview.
Yeah.
But I think it would be useful if we would send it.
Hey, guys. Sorry, guys.
I think it would be useful if this board considered sending a letter off to the town board. In this particular case, hearing what we've heard, that this appears to be a perennial problem.
Mhm.
And we recommend that it be looked into by the town board,
Yeah, sure.
because obviously
I mean, obviously, we don't have any purview over it, but we could send it to them for their attention.
town highway department does work for them.
Correct.
Going forward.
Yep.
So they could do something about that. I've been reading, a lot about the electric grid. Central Hudson readily admits that the electric grid is stretched at best and starting to, have points of failure, as the gentleman.
Yeah.
I work there. I work.
So that is the case. So I think it would be useful in the spirit of planning that what we heard tonight be sent to the town board and, go on record as saying, hey, we heard this, not sure if you're aware of it. It's something that some of it can be addressed by the highway superintendent.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
That's about all we can.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Zori, anything else on the public hearing?
No, but I have a question.
Well, let me get to the public hearing. Any other questions on the public hearing, guys? No. Okay, so can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion to approve.
I have Zach, a second by Helena, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Public hearing is now closed. Okay, so, based on the public hearing info and we've looked at the maps, is there any other comments? Soria?
Yeah, the first meeting letter, do we have anything about feasibility study of well and septic?
Yeah, we have a feasibility study on the file from Mr. Akers.
It's already came?
Uh-huh.
That's, for lot 2.
Yep.
And lot 3, the 3-acre parcel, we're in progress with getting health department approval for that. So
Okay, great.
I want to make that contingent approval upon.
Receiving Board of Health.
Lot.
Yep, no problem. Anything else, Zorian? Rick? Helena?
I do.
Okay.
In regards to the August 14th feasibility study on the septic.
Yep.
It's been, they've hand augured, et cetera. However, there should be a brief description of the soils that were encountered so that you want.
So in the feasibility, we're just looking for, based on the engineer's review, their stamp.
But you can just say what the soils are, granular, blah, blah, blah.
We don't historically ask for that on the feasibility, but we can if you'd like.
I think to keep it complete, I think
Okay.
it protects everyone.
So Bill, you're our feasibility guy. We'll just get that, see whatever they're digging into. And
What the soils are.
I mean, obviously it's clay. You're not going to get a feasibility study. So
Yeah.
that's why I think they don't do it. That's okay. Anything else, Selena?
Nope, that's
Okay,
everything
Peter?
I have.
Zach? No. I have a decision ready for this if you guys want to go over it.
I wonder if we ought to have the drainage issues. I heard that might be drainage issues, not along the road, but coming from the property, from 2 of the.
Bill, do you have any, you guys did feasibility there and Perks, do you see any runoff that you're having issues with?
Well, the runoff, like say from lot 3.
Yeah.
Flows into his other lands of lot 1.
Sure.
And then from there runs back into this season drainage.
That's flowing off on the other side of Stony Hill that's coming across the road.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so that's
we
just a
don't
culvert.
have, this all completely slopes off of Stony Hill
Sure.
Road and down. So there's nothing here that's draining onto any other properties. It's all draining back into his remaining parcel, that lot
Yep.
1, the large parcel.
Which we talked about in the beginning. Okay.
Are there any, is he putting in any, underneath where the proposed roads are, is he putting in any, culverts underneath the?
That'll be
driveway?
required of the highway superintendent to determine that.
We need to have, it's required, we need to have it on that.
If there's water runoff, but if it's for a driveway, that'll be, like, if you need a driveway
All I'm
permit.
asking is his water study,
Oh,
drainage study,
Understood.
showing the.
We haven't done a
Be put in by the applicant.
Understood.
drainage study here. We didn't do a drainage study per se. You know, if it was over an acre disturbance, that would be, but, for this purpose of this, we didn't do a drainage study on this parcel.
So you're claiming that all the water is drained to the back of this property? None of it's drained to the front of the property?
No, the property goes like this.
Yeah, it drops from the road and everything slopes down.
No, it's,
Right there.
sorry,
Yep.
there's a pool.
Hang on, the public hearing's closed. It's okay.
I would like, look, it's a quote unquote a small subdivision on a long piece of property.
Yep.
But we didn't do anything in terms, we didn't have our engineer look at the drainage, potential drainage issues. They didn't do a study, they didn't require them to do a study.
Correct.
We hear comments from the public, well, there might be a drainage problem. I think we should have, what's his name, our engineer, Greg, Greg, take a look at, is there a problem there? Based upon the mechanicals that have.
I mean, I guess my only concern is that, like Bill says, the water is running onto his property from another property.
Well, if that was true, then there was a problem. I don't know where it's coming from, where it's going to, but there's pooling. now.
So if you remember in the beginning of this application, when the seasonal stream was mentioned in the back right corner of the property that we talked about, that was quote unquote seasonal. I brought to the table that we should have a wetland study take a look at that, and it was determined that we didn't need it because of the stream being a seasonal stream and it was flowing not into the Stony Kiln. Remember that, correct? We voted
But
against.
that's a wetland study as opposed to normal drainage.
Correct.
Up, down, across the road. into
So
the road.
we need to be specific as to what exactly we're looking for if we're going to adjust what we voted down. I asked for a wetland study because I was concerned that stream was creating pooling. I don't know where the water was coming from. Now we know where it's coming from. So,
It seems that anything that's in existence right now, we're not gonna ask for a study for because it exists. But the addition of the additional lots, I think we should have our engineer take a look at, because it came up in the public. Doesn't mean they're right, doesn't mean they're
Sure.
wrong. He should just take a look at it, have a discussion with the engineer for the applicant to see whether or not, well, what's going on.
anybody
I
else?
think that's reason before we go forward with public hearing. I'd rather
I agree
doing
with,
anything
yeah.
with the
Okay.
decision.
I'm good with that. So Bill, we'll need to get Greg involved and, see what he has. I would assume that you have a detailed topo because you've already done topo there. So probably gonna want to start when you get back as homework to get some of that drainage identified on lot 3 and see where it goes, where it's coming from and where it's going. I think lot 3 is the concern. I don't feel like we have a concern on the other lots. Right.
Purpose of public hearing is to get input that we didn't hear
Correct.
before, so we heard something that we didn't know before. Let's just, it may take nothing more than a discussion.
Yep.
And get it report back from Greg.
Sounds good to me.
We've got to take the public comment and address it.
Again, if they were complaining about an existing situation.
Right.
Or will the new situation exacerbate what exists?
Understood.
That's all.
Okay, Bill, so.
I'm not willing to go forward.
No, that's fine. So Bill, you're a little timing sucks here, unfortunately, but so today's the deadline for the September agenda. So we're gonna need you to get with Greg fairly quickly and see if we can get this back in time to get it on the agenda for October.
Right, there's no major problem, it should be easy. You
Right.
look at some facts, you look at some numbers. you-
Right, I just need something from Greg. We need a letter from Greg. So if I were you, I'd call him first thing in the morning. And if you can get it to me earlier than later, potentially we can get you on in September, but I need it now.
Can you clarify some of the concerns? It's going down to the back. So we're subdividing that area. So how does the subdivision affect the existing?
I'm not seeing any effects of what, I don't think anything is gonna change based on the subdivision. Regardless of if they put a house on lot 3 where they're proposed or a house on lot 2, the drainage that is pre-existing is not gonna change.
Yeah, sometimes instead.
And we could make some logical conclusions from looking at the topo, but we're not engineers. And there's nothing done here. There's an existing issue, quote unquote, and it sounds like there's a concern that there could be.
Yeah.
What is the neighbors, what is the neighbor's concern?
The neighbor's concern is that lot 3 across the street from lot 3 is the member of the public who made the concern, where the drainage is running from there down that right side of lot 3, which could potentially be an impact. Which would be to the left side of the existing driveway. You see that?
Lot 3 is going away from the slope is going.
And
away
lot
from the-
1 is going with it.
Right. So basically, something will run from lot 3 toward lot 1.
That's the potential concern. Okay, Bill. You're done for the evening.
Okay.
See you next time.
Yep.
All right, next one is 2024-19, a minor subdivision, 120 Upper Whitfield. Matt Tanner's representing Mr. Danford from Willingham Engineering. Matt, brand new map here. Thank you.
Yep.
The applicant's proposing a 4-lot subdivision with 1 flag lot. Board, if you remember correctly, Matt brought this to us with a huge area in the back that had some concern. We asked him to go back to his applicant to potentially bring a conservation subdivision forward. He has done so. So now we have a conservation subdivision to look at, which is great. And we got maps coming to you, fresh maps.
Oh, sorry, came just today, or
What's that?
but they came just today, a few days ago, or the map?
It's been in the folder.
July.
Since previous last meeting.
Or was it? Okay. So it's not, it's dated, so.
Those don't look like mine.
No,
These are Peter Sutherland's.
Good call.
Scotland.
Oh, maps.
Give those back.
Away. You know they're kind of wrong.
Yeah. Me too.
Okay, Matt, give us the 30-second elevators.
Sure, so there were a few comments from the previous board meeting. That the neighboring property now is shown, the addresses.
Matt, how many maps did you give us? Sorry.
Got one more?
Yeah, I got one more coming. There we go. We're back live. Go ahead, hit us.
So we were in the process of having the DC wetland delineated
Yep.
and surveyed, so
Yep.
that's now shown.
Thank you.
I've got the core forest zone.
So you're gonna be looking for a density waiver to get that 1 lot. I think it's lot 2 smaller than the minimum, right?
That's right.
Okay, great.
One lot, a little bit.
The rest are gonna be within zone compliance.
That's right.
So typically in our conservation subdivision, that's what we're looking, right? We're looking to cluster those houses as best as we can,
Yeah.
giving you the density waiver, and then the rest is conservation. So, great start. Keep going, sorry.
Yes, no, it's fine. It's, so, yeah, lot 2, as Mark said, it's gonna be split. It's gonna be 1.75 acres, so 1.25 less than what's required in the zone, but we are conserving 58.3 acre, 72 acre parcel. So that's about 80%.
Great.
So other than that, all the 3 new lots are all gonna be right up near the road. Haven't done soil testing yet, but once the board feels okay with the lot layout, we'll do that.
Okay. So I love the conceptual of this, way better than it was originally, so thank you for the change. Conservation is gonna be great here, especially with only 1 item that's reduced in a density waiver, so that's good. The other lots, like I said, like you said, up against the road, they gonna have your curb cuts, no shared driveway here, or is there one?
No shared driveway.
Okay, no shared driveway, so that's good. The majority of the conservation is gonna be with the lot in the back, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 lots. It's lot 1 and lot 3.
Yep, okay. Okay, Rick?
I don't remember what this originally looked like. Do you have an old map with you?
It's in the file.
Probably.
So what you preserve, what's in the conservation subdivision? That's a separate lot, right? I don't see it identified here. Is that a separate lot?
No, it's,
No, it
It's
goes
part
with
of
lot
the-
number 2 and lot number 3.
So lot number 2 and 3.
Are gonna hold are gonna hold parcel of the land in the conservation.
In what fashion, as an HOA?
Are you proposing an HOA?
no, we were gonna do a conservation area.
Okay. So similar to we did at, for Sweeney.
Green Hill.
Yep, okay,
Same thing.
great.
So who's it available to? Only those owners?
Yeah, I mean, they still own it, but it's conserved, you can't develop on it.
So where is where are lot lines for 1 and 2?
Rick, did you have a chance to look at this map yet?
I did,
Okay.
and I saw the conservation subdivision. I guess I didn't assume, I just assumed that it was gonna be an HOA.
Okay.
That's
No,
what-
so similar to the one that Matt did, we had those 3 lots, but each lot actually held a portion of that area. We walked the property and here was where the house, and this is where the rest of it's gonna
You
be.
removed.
Correct, we had the signs, the stakes,
So then-
correct, but it was not an HOA, it was the owner of the property couldn't
so
do
that's-
any, exactly. Because nobody wants an HOA.
Not no,
Wow. There are some people.
Yes.
who do HOA.
Well, your code, item H says it's gotta have an easement.
Correct. An easement giving access to
Title
it.
to a homeowners association, land trust, or municipality. I don't know what the other alternative is.
Well, so
I think he's doing a conservation easement, not necessarily a conservation.
I'll defer to the attorney, but the
So-
easement's typically held by one of these entities.
Exactly.
You can't just give it to the underlying property.
So here's what, yeah, that's where,
That's not an option in your code, but if you,
that's where I was going with this one.
unless you want,
That's what we did. I guess we could call it a,
It depends on what we call this. If we're doing a conservation subdivision, bear with me. We're doing a conservation subdivision, then you can quote unquote dabble with the size of the lots.
sure,
This is not a conservation subdivision.
he's proposing one, but he
Well,
would
then
need
he-
to have an
then-
HOA then.
Then we have, okay, well, he's proposing it in order to be able to get the difference in the size of.
The
lot,
density.
whatever. Well, then he's got to assign it, as our advisor has said, he's got to assign it in 3 different ways. He's got to give it to a land trust, he's got to give it to an HOA, or he's got to give it to the town board.
Similar to the one you're doing on the next step.
So-
or another government.
So it's not like what he did before.
What he did before is
What he did before was a conservation area, but he wasn't asking for any
Densities.
density bonus. He's asking for density bonus. The easy way around this, and I was gonna propose it anyway, once I say, is forget about this extra lot, flag lot. We don't like flag lots anyway. Forget about it. You have to go the conservation subdivision fashion if you want to do that. And we may not even approve that. But you're doing it and you want a density bonus. To do that, you need a conservation subdivision, period, end of case.
Right, so you have 2 routes that you could travel.
Then he's gotta go to an HOA.
Right, so 2 routes you could travel. One, get each lot to the required density. Option 1. Option 2, get rid of the flag lot altogether and either make a new lot up front and add some of the conservation in the back or scrap it completely. Option number 3 is, like Rick said, get each lot to having a portion of the conservation so you can get that density and not ask for the bonus.
And I don't like flag lots.
Right.
Creation of flag lots. A lot of times when we've done flag lots, it's already an existing lot. It's landlocked.
We're taking other things away from it.
Yeah, this is a creation of a whole of flag lot. I don't,
I mean, it's in our code, we allow it, but
which lot are you, oh, the existing.
so the issue is the pre-existing lot that's undersized. Right, in your map, you're saying
That's
it's,
not the one that's on the side.
no, the 1.75 acre lot doesn't meet the density bonus for that zone.
which was the 1.75 lot.
Two.
Oh, you can't do that.
So that needs to get to 3 acres. We need to get that to 3 or it's gotta go.
You gotta completely, so Mark said it, and to me, it boils down to, you want a conservation subdivision so that you get lot bonuses, then you gotta do a conservation subdivision.
Which is an
And you
HOA.
gotta get yourself a good lawyer to come up with an HOA and all that other good stuff.
Right.
To create an HOA. If you don't want to do that, then these lots have to be complied with the bulk lot.
Zoning regulations.
Zoning regulations. We still want to see this conservation area like we did on the other project.
Right.
right, but you can't have a lot out of compliance with the bulk.
All right, so Matt, I got another proposal. Can we shift all these lots to the left? And can you get 4 with the adequate frontage on the front where all houses are on the front and have the accurate zoning in the back?
Yeah,
Because that would, if you could put all 4 houses up front, now you really want to make the board happy is you can do, each house can have a shared driveway apron. Now you only have 2 curb cuts instead of 3. You just really appeased us. Now if you can get to the zoning, everybody's gonna be
Yeah, I
happy.
wouldn't want to see, I agree with Mark, I wouldn't want to see 4 driveways.
Right,
We have 4
but if
driveways.
we can get, if he's gonna keep 4, let's get 2 shared aprons.
Yeah.
Now we just solved the whole problem.
But they have to be, the individual lots have to be in compliance with the bulk requirements.
I think he's gonna get that with the area in the back. He'll just give each lot a portion of that and put the signs up, you're all set.
And the rest of it would be this conservation.
Area with an easement that does not require homeowner substitution. Okay, Matt, we threw a lot at you.
yeah.
Do you have good enough soils?
That makes sense.
Have you done perks here?
I haven't done them yet,
Okay,
so I will, but there's plenty of space,
I
but,
think so too.
yes, I mean, as far as the flag lot goes, those are allowed, right?
Yeah, you could do a flag lot, but our issue with the flag lot is that you're asking for an additional curb cut.
Right.
When we're trying to conserve the land as
So
much
it's
as we
just
can.
tied.
Just tie it in and have them do a shared driveway agreement. Or a shared driveway apron, which only needs to be 15 feet.
Yeah, you could take 2 and the shared driveway. I'm still not crazy about a shared driveway, but I don't,
Well, if 2 and 4 can come together,
if those driveways can come together.
yeah, that would be nice. Like shift 2 and 4 to the left.
Probably be 4 and 3 and 2 and 1.
That's fine too. Yep. Yeah, I think I would shift everything over because it looks like you have some pretty good level dirt there. Shift it all over. Now you could squeeze 3 forward on that flat parcel there.
Well, 3 is existing, that's an existing home.
Right, but you could, I'm saying take the bulk of the mass of the acreage and bring it to the front of the road.
And then 2, so the reason the home for 2 is right there.
Yep.
Because that's kind of an ideal spot.
Okay, so keep
There's
it.
a row of trees that blocks it, in
Mhm.
lot 1.
And there's a rock wall there too.
Yeah, he really wants a home right there.
Okay.
So I might just take the lot line between 1 and 3 and move that over
That makes sense.
to the west.
Okay.
And we encourage the, well, you don't, we like stone walls, we don't want to destroy the whole, so yeah, you.
Similar to what you did on Stern Hill, we don't want to interrupt any stone walls or any of those trails, woods roads pre-existing. We want to keep all that. Especially if you're trying to conserve something, that's like the purpose.
Yeah, so I would have to cut through that tree line and that stone wall to tie the driveways for 1 and 2 together. So, you know, what if I had 3 curb cuts? I tied 2 and 3 together, then left 4 and 1 on their own.
I like that.
I'd be okay
That's
with
a
that.
better idea.
You have sight distance here on Upper Woodfield, no problem. It's pretty straight, narrow road.
You have right now not propose shared driveway for lot 4, but it's not shared driveway.
Yeah, you could do a share with somebody, right? You're gonna share 2 and
I was gonna share 2 and 3.
2 and 3, right? Okay.
Right now, lot 4, the market propose shared driveway, but it's not shared driveway.
You're
Yeah.
right, that's a typo. Thank you.
And I'm sure he does have site distance, but remember, that's something we need to have our engineer take a look at.
Yeah, let's get a conceptual plan
Put it
first.
on the map.
We gotta get a plan for it. Change it twice. Good here, Matt, for now?
Yeah,
Okay.
You understand the concern with the, in our code, conservation subdivision, to get that bonus, you have to do certain things.
right.
He's gonna do it on the next lot, so on the next application we're gonna talk about.
And we'll see.
Yeah.
I have a.
Sorry?
You don't have ability to tell it in color.
Color?
Yeah.
I don't like to use color.
Hmm.
What do you want colored?
I think what he's asking for is a heat map, the elevations be in color, different, in the code. We, as, you don't do anything because you're not putting homes back here.
Right, for grading.
In the code is from between 0 and 5% slope, 5 and 10, 10 and 20 and
I
above
was
20.
asking Grace,
It'll be a different codes.
past experience is not that.
It would be nice if you could, I'll make it maybe a little easier. Maybe if we can thicken some of the proposed lines as to what's labeled. Because we have a lot of topo lines, so if we can thicken as to where the property lines are gonna be, that might be easier rather than color.
To use the reading of the map, essentially.
Right. It's just, there's a lot going on.
If there were houses up in the back, that we would be asking for color coding.
Yeah.
Sure,
To see the grading, like we did on some of these.
like, yeah, monochrome, but I get it.
Another question here, are we gonna visit the site?
Let's get a conceptual plan first. I think we're putting the cart before the horse. Okay, Matt, if you want, to be on, not gonna happen September, October it is. Okay,
All right, so there's really no way to get on the agenda.
for September?
Yeah.
I mean, your deadline was today at what time? I mean, you want to get it to me tomorrow morning, I could do something. Okay. All right, it is what it is. All right. And if you want, what I make maybe a good proposal, maybe you should get that to me sooner than later. I can get Dave Church to look at it before the next meeting. I can send it to Greg to get it, let's get the ball rolling. Do you want me to set escrow tonight so we can get that started? Okay, how about 5,000? Okay, all right, we'll set escrow for 5,000 on this. And then once I get the check for that, then I can get Dave Church involved and I can get Greg involved so that a lot of those reviews we can talk about in October.
Chair, the only other thing on this.
Yeah.
You did the short form, right?
Yeah.
You want a long form, Rick?
Well,
Let's get the plan first.
let's get one a long form. See the impacts on not on wetland, but on the flora and fauna. But you may ask for a little more.
You're gonna do a SWIP here?
Yeah, it's gonna be the basics.
All right, let's get a SWIP first and then we'll see if we need a long form. We'll see what the impacts are of the SWIP. Okay. All right, cool.
I have one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Helena.
We should label what the New York State DEC wetland is, what its designation is. You just have DEC wetland. So, and my question to the board is, when we have mapped wetlands on properties, do we ask for DEC to sign it, or do we get a copy of the signed wetland map?
It's a condition of approval, so they need to get if they're gonna cross it, whatever they're gonna do with it. But we don't get the DEC signed.
Actually.
Yeah.
Back.
That's fine. We don't ask for it to be signed, to answer your question. Meaning on the map when it's completed, we just ask them to
Yeah.
give it to us. Conditional.
And then on that map, you have the wetland designation on it.
So just provide a copy.
Can't send
No,
our
yeah,
map to
and on
DEC.
this, it says that.
Let's get the concept first. Okay, thanks, Matt.
Yes.
Appreciate it. You guys want to take 5 minutes? Get the next one get set up? Okay. So next application is Ridgeview Realty LLC, special use permit, 5 Ridgeview Road. We're gonna get you guys set up and we're gonna take a quick 5 minutes while you set the maps up, okay? Yep. So Dave, when you look at that, put your notes in there and then determine if you feel we need a long form based on your findings.
That's gonna. Probably September.
No, October.
So he's not getting the density bonus.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Right, no, without.
Yep, we're way too ahead of time. It's a year long. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a year long. Yeah. Oh, septic?
No, what's taxes. Where, the first one?
Oh, that's his setbacks. Oh, that's a lot line, because he's showing the existing line undone. Yeah, he's showing the existing line and then the proposed new line. Because when you file it at the clerk, all they care about is what, yes, all he cares about is the new and the old. But that's only on a lot line. I know, only on a lot. County requires. Because they want to see the existing size meets and bounds, and then the new proposed meets and bounds. Oh, I have no idea what that means. I see. See? So it's a text box, but he's not changing the color of the text box anymore. He wants to use it. Yeah. Yeah. Here's this one back.
Thank you.
Okay. Matt, we have maps out for this already? Okay. You guys got maps? Okay, here we go. So, 2024-18, a special use permit in AR3 district located at 5 Ridgeview Road. Representative is Jeff Kaplan from Coulter, Kaplan, Ziegler and Foreman, and as well as Kevin Math, the engineering from Terra Nova. Ma'am,
I am not Jeff Pat.
obviously.
I'm here on his behalf. My name is Amber.
Amber Swinby, thank you. I know he said he was going out of town, but he didn't say who he was sending.
Yeah. It's me.
Okay, so the applicant is proposing a year-round resort with educational facilities. You remember this site was previously used for a substance and alcohol rehabilitation location and is proposing to have a change of use. So 30-second elevator speech?
The proposed use, the applicant is requesting to use the facility as, for 2 months out of the year as a day camp. And the remainder of the year, he would like to use it as a bed and breakfast style. So rentals, bed and breakfast, throughout the winter months, people will come and go. And for the most part, for the 2 months out of the year for the day camp, there's going to be no change in the amount of people that were already there at the facility prior when it was a drug and rehabilitation center.
Okay.
About 100 to 200 people we have been told, and the day camp is probably going to be about the same amount of people. We don't see any issues with parking at this time because the kids that will be coming for the day camp will be bussed in and out daily. There's about 70 parking spaces or so those will not be used up during the 2 months of the summer or for the remainder of the year. We don't see parking as an issue at this time.
Okay. That's good.
I'm told that there was a request for an updated map, an updated survey and map, so.
We'll get that when we cross that bridge in a second.
Sure, yeah.
What else? Anything else?
That's basically it. We're looking to, like you said, it was used for drug rehabilitation center before. We purchased it and would like to get it for a summer camp throughout the summer months, July and August. And the rest of the year, like a bread and breakfast place, in and out people.
Just overnight stays.
Correct, but it will usually be on weekends.
Okay.
Meaning from Thursday to Sunday night. And the rest of the week will be probably empty.
Okay.
Similar to, there's another facility in Rochester.
Yep.
Pine Grove.
Yep.
Similar spot.
Okay, great. Kevin, you're up.
The only issue I see with the site is we're gonna be demolishing the existing miniature golf course there.
Okay.
We're gonna turn it into a playground area for young children. And my personal opinion is the surface area should be either pea gravel or wood shavings to protect the kids. You know, I've been growing up in the Bronx, been on slides and monkey bars and swings on asphalt. You can get hurt pretty easily. That's jumping off. And, you know what kids do.
Okay.
They don't exact. So what that means is there'll be about a little increase or a little decrease, I should say, in runoff. So
Okay.
I don't really see a need for a SWIP other than general statement, which I can provide to back that up.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
At this point, I don't believe so. I think that,
So you're gonna use the existing rooms, you're gonna use the existing hotel rooms, the existing classrooms.
correct. Everything in the buildings will remain as they are. So
Okay.
I'm not looking for any construction, anything like that, other than the proposed playground.
Sure. So inside, like, I guess where the gym was or whatever, I think of gym back in the day now, that's gonna be a classroom or shul, correct?
Right, there will be, some educational
Yeah, that's fine.
purposes to, the camp for the 2 months of the year, and part of that will be a shul.
Now, when that's not for those 2 months, like for the other 10 months, that would just be like, office space or,
Depends on the region that we have, either short or maybe nothing.
okay, makes sense.
depending on who
But in the summer,
comes in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll start, Zorian?
It's the question. First question, details of arrangement, time in the winter. How many, can you be more specific? More specific,
it will be on the winter, it's gonna be weekends, like I said. during the week.
right, but can you put it on the paper, so for the record? Because the history, of the summer application show that, when no specific given, so the applicant later, that's whatever they want.
It will not exceed the maximum capacity was the facility is designed right now.
All right, I understand, but what kind of arrangement or arranging is gonna be? Question number one. Then, second question, proof of the water and septic system. Are they in working condition? Does the new proposal demand? Because we don't know, that facility has been kind of on.
Kevin, I guess you're gonna deal with Board of Health on that?
Yes, we'll work with the Ulster County Department of Health, get them involved, and if necessary, bring in, DEC as well. Because once you get, I think the threshold level is about 3,000 gallons a day. When you hit that threshold level, DEC really takes over because they're more concerned about large volumes of wastewater and how you have to dispose of them. So,
So we'll need something from Ulster County Department of Health.
oh, without a doubt,
Okay.
yeah, I'll arrange a meeting with them.
Okay.
And we'll have them sit down, go over everything and make sure that, they're happy, or if they, whatever concerns they have. And if they tell me to go see so-and-so over in New Paltz, I'll go there and see them.
Okay.
And get something in writing from them as well.
Okay, another question, maybe going too far, but lighting on the site.
Yep, that was on my list too.
Lighting on the site.
So we'll need a lighting plan.
Yeah, well, again, there is existing lighting there, and we can
Well,
either,
existing for us,
Right.
doesn't tell anything. We need to
oh, no,
know what
no,
is there.
yeah,
So the goal of our lighting plan.
Yeah.
Because you guys haven't done this in our town before, but the goal of our lighting plan is to ensure that there's no spillover
Right.
that's falling on neighboring properties. And then we want to actually see what lighting is either there or what you're proposing, whether you're going to use LED, you're going to use halogen, whatever it is, whatever's there, so we can ensure that that meets our engineers' requirements for lighting.
I've done that in the past, so I understand what you're looking for.
Okay,
Definitely, an Isolux diagram that showed the spread of the light.
Yeah,
across the
exactly.
property.
Sorry, I'm going to stop you on that lighting conversation. Just right there.
I just have one question.
Oh, hang on.
I need a little clarification. Your, light spillage over the property line, is it a quarter-foot candle or a half-foot candle?
You'll have to check the code and ensure you meet it. I can
Okay.
go offhand.
Thank you.
Our engineer reviews that.
Okay,
But on the topic of lighting, if you're proposing any lighting that goes on any signage, like at the entrance, you're gonna have a
Right.
light, that needs to be included on the lighting.
oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Zoran.
okay, then detail of sleeping areas, location, size and occupancy, because for safety reasons, we need to know how many people are gonna be in this room, how many are gonna be in another room. Again, we're talking about existing, we don't know anything about this.
Okay.
And
Would you-
existing was probably 20, 30 years ago.
Right, so the occupancy we need to see on the plan as to what your occupancy levels are. Ensure that meets Department of Health requirements for the Ulster County for water and septic.
We
And
got
then-
it from the residents, from the Department of Health,
Okay,
including all the sleeping areas right now,
okay.
and 4 people per room, 56 rooms, it's about.
All right, but we need to see it, I think.
So
Yeah.
would a typical floor plan of a typical room be okay?
Yeah, we just need, it's your
Well, that's
location.
what I mean.
You tell us what you want it to look like.
Otherwise, an architectural plans of every building. I just want to say, if we could provide just a typical floor plan.
Sure.
Well, but also specify like a safety exits.
Yes, exactly. You have to have
Fire.
at least 2 safety exits. The windows have to be minimum 22 by 44.
We'll also reach out to the fire department, get their stamp of approval.
What will be the use of single family structure? Unclear. What's single family structure?
It's a single family house that was there from when we
No,
purchased
but I
it.
mean, what you plan?
It's gonna be probably, in the summertime, it's gonna be for the director. He's gonna stay on that property. During the winter, it's gonna be empty.
This was Miss Cusack's house.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that was going to be my guess. I would have recommended using it as the administrative office for the site.
Well, there's two single family homes on the map. So one says existing single family residence to remain, the other one says to be renovated. So
Correct.
which one, they're both gonna be the single from that?
You're gonna put your staff there, I assume.
The one that's gonna be
Correct. When we're gonna
renovated.
renovate.
So,
Both it's 2 single family houses. One is run down, it's boarded up. And one is an existing operational house, what is gonna be used for the director in the summer, during the winter, probably empty.
So you're gonna keep the rundown closed, or you're gonna be?
They're gonna
We're
renovate.
renovate it, but no plans at this point, what we're gonna do with it.
Okay.
But it wouldn't not increase your occupancy of your guests. It would be for staff, if anything. Okay. Or maybe yourself.
All right, I'm continuing, sorry. Based on code and past approach to this loading and unloading area dimensions, there is a certain paragraph in our code, 140-17E. Then landscaping, so we'd like to see landscaping. Garbage collection location size to meet the required capacity.
You're taking all my stuff.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. Keep going.
Building from you.
Yeah, so our garbage locations, Kevin, we require that they're boxed in so you can't see them.
It's easy to do.
We like them to be, something earth tone colors, potentially green, so it matches with the green,
Kind of like that green fuzzy material on that.
or painted, whatever. But we want to be able to not see the trash from the road.
Yeah.
So if there's a container or a garbage dumpster or whatever they're using, just something that's boxed in.
And also make it secure enough so the bears don't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Parking lot details, including parking spaces for disabled.
Yep, so ADA
Yeah,
compliance.
places of public assembly. I'm just reading.
Hang on, Zori, let's go back to parking. So, Amber, I believe you mentioned that we have 70-ish spots,
Yeah.
somewhere in that number. So on your next plan, Kevin,
Yes.
we're gonna wanna see those detail where they are. Are they gonna be striped? Are they gonna be gravel? I know there's existing pavement, but whatever you're
Obviously,
proposing.
we'll put the handicap spots closest to the buildings. The people, so that's this way it'll meet the ADA
Yeah,
standards.
just look at our code for parking because there's a requirement, how many ADA per.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking at least 1 to 2 per building, I think would be.
Just check the
Just
code,
off the top of my head,
whatever the code says.
my experience in doing site plans.
Code says 388 going from 51 to 75.
Oh.
That's nothing. Site plan, bus movement on parking lot. Show us how the buses can,
Yeah, so you want to see a turning
right.
plan.
Right, so
That's-
when you pull those, like, for instance, we use Pine Grove as an example. They come in the first entrance, they come up, they come around, and they go out the second entrance. In this situation, your parking lot's a little bit more contained, where you could have the bus traffic go out down Ridgeview Road and turn around on the right parking lot, or you can have them come in and do a swoop inside.
Yeah.
We just need to see that movement of whatever that's gonna flow.
Also have a note, any buses that stop at the site to pick up teachers, children, or attend other camps, it's a new note. We'll use one of the 2 parking lots to pick up and turn around, ensuring no buses stop at each.
Absolutely.
Essentially, that's why I'm asking for that.
Are you gonna have any any crosswalks on the property? I don't believe there are any now. Like maybe where you're unloading and then.
You might need it like where the buses might stop. They're not gonna stop in front of the building.
Once we see the bus movement flow, then we can determine if that's needed. We haven't done an on-site crosswalk in the past. But in this situation, because of the flow, we might need to.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to assume that.
With 150, 200 young boys at the site, there will be outdoor activities. Where is the place and what will be the activities? Singing, amplify music, utilization, of megaphones, it's a question.
it's boys, well, not, it's gonna be a playground for the small children that we proposed at the bottom.
Or instead of,
Where the golf course
instead
is.
of golf course?
Yes.
Correct, because it's kidding golf.
Right.
But if you have 150, 200 boys, boys are going to go
Correct,
outside.
so the previous owner used to have a field up in the mountain. When, I don't know if it's on this plan, but
Open the big survey, you'll
it's
see.
on the big survey. You can see a big empty lot. And we plan to put a tennis court over there or something like that for the boys.
So we'll need to see that on the next
Yeah.
minute.
There's also the possibility too, I may be overstepping them, is kids being taken to other sites for the day, whether it might be,
A bowling alley, whatever, right?
you know, go see animals and.
Well, that part time,
Yes,
it's beyond.
right,
So
right.
based on the application, if we're gonna do a pool, a mikvah, a tennis court, you know, any additional outside activities, that's fine. We just need to see it on the map.
Yeah.
Are you proposing a mikvah?
We didn't propose it at the moment.
Okay,
Planning,
so think about that, because if you're gonna do it, we need it on the map.
Yeah, I think it would make sense, even if it may not be built for 2 or 3 years after approval or after opening day operations, I think it would be a good idea to have.
Whatever, any of those ideas you might have down the road, let's get them on the map.
This way we get through the building permit process and all the code compliance.
Otherwise, if you
that goes
do,
with it.
remember, if you have a change or an addition or something you want, then you gotta come back.
Back, yeah.
Let's do it on the front end. Zorian?
Yeah, so going back to the outside activities,
Yep.
you're gonna be singing on amplified music. How much noise you're gonna produce for the surrounding community?
Yeah, so do you have any proposed activities that are gonna occur outside with any noise? You know, that question mark, are you, I don't know what you're planning.
it's boys, it's gonna be their boys basically from 13 and up. It's not gonna be their small kids at the moment. It's gonna be boys and,
I'm not.
There's no-
I
there's no
didn't mean,
outside
I
activity.
didn't shout.
except of swimming. No, I understand, but except of swimming and playing a little bit ball, that's basically what it is.
Any outside music,
No, not what I,
amplified.
not at this point. We do have it in our communities and smaller children, and they have activities outside.
Like
The younger
parties and
kids,
things like that.
Right, but
This is a little bit older kids.
Then you need to
More.
specify and make sure that your noise generation is not greater than.
10 decibels above ambient.
decibel versus what.
Right, you're in a pretty desolate area up there, so what Zorian's saying is if you're proposing that you're gonna do anything outside, which is fine, we need to make sure that we have that, because that could generate a noise study, and we need to make sure that you're within the parameters, because if you're outside of those parameters, code enforcement officer is gonna get involved, and we don't wanna avoid that.
Well, that's where maybe the landscaping plan can come into play, because
If we need buffering, sure.
if sufficient landscaping is in place, it'll act as a natural buffer.
Again, we need to see if you're even gonna do anything first.
That's,
You guys decide that. We don't need an answer now. Okay, Zorian,
Okay.
you're stealing everybody's thunder here.
Okay, noise is last one.
Okay, Rick?
Yeah, I guess, just to open up for my own education is to remind myself and maybe to the board what we have here. It's a special use permit, and every special use permit requires a detailed site plan. Even if you already have an existing spot.
Correct.
And the purpose of an existing site plan, or the purpose of a site plan in this case, is to identify all the things that are in our codes. I used to go through the code from soup to nuts. Identify all the things on the map that are required in a site plan. Things like the size of buildings, the occupancy of the buildings. And you need that because you need to figure out, I heard a number of from 100 to 200 kids, and somewhere else I saw 226, which is 56 rooms times 4, 226. So what is it? Because what you give us from the Department of Health needs to jive with what you're saying you can actually have in those rooms. So you need to make sure you have that all done. The lighting that Zorian mentioned, the purpose of the lighting, you have it already. I've been at that site. But since it's a new site plan, we need to make sure that that lighting is in compliance with the current code, which is called the dark sky. So you have to change everything out, and now I'm here. Parking, in the parking lot, we need to have lighting there. with the parking being marked for the 70 spots, they need to be marked, they need to be within code in terms of size. With the buses, you need to have a bus plan, a transportation plan, literally.
And on that
So-
on the same topic of the buses, I just want to make sure that when we talk about signage, which we'll get there in a few minutes, you're gonna have, parking for vans and cars or bus traffic, wherever that signage looks like, because you already get to Upper Cherrytown Road, you think you're lost, you're in the middle of nowhere, and then you make the right and it's a quick left, so it's very easily get confused. And to avoid potential problems with neighbors where they don't turn around in driveways and things like that, we want to make sure that the signage and the route of traffic is very, very detailed.
I know, I saw that on Google Maps. I did my own little.
Yeah, you do the left and the right and a quick left.
Drive around.
It's easy to get
So,
confused.
I'm hearing what you're saying. I
Okay.
agree with you.
Zorian? Yeah, go ahead.
So we talked a little bit about, do we need to put each of the individual buildings and the size of the buildings and all that? Well, you may, because the fire department, and again, whatever was done in the past is out the window. This is a whole new site plan.
Right.
So the fire department's gonna wanna know where the trucks are gonna get to, particularly if they're gonna be inhabited each room by 4 people, 4 beds is what you indicated. I've seen some of those rooms. I don't know how you're gonna get 4 beds, but that's.
Well, yeah, you said,
You figured.
They'll
that
bring
out.
us a plan.
If you say 4, fine.
wow, that was just a number that was averaged out there. They'd be a room with 6 beds.
I remember when those
Others with 2.
rooms just had 1 bed.
Yeah,
That
So.
come up for the weekend and that was it, they had 30 days of go to the north country and stay away.
The fire department's gonna wanna know where are the inhabitable buildings, we're gonna need it on the map.
yes.
They're gonna need to have a plan, you need to give to develop a plan with the fire department. And
Yes.
Peter is the chief of the fire department, he could be helpful there.
Yeah.
But you're gonna need a plan that says specifically how the trucks are gonna get in there, where they're going to have access to water. How they're gonna find a fire in any one or many of those.
And we can label those with fire lane.
Fire lane,
You got a lot
any
of
hydrants that might be.
You're gonna be housing kids, not adults.
Is it acceptable to ask for a floor plan?
Yeah, we already did. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna need a floor plan for these
Yep.
buildings.
Yeah,
You asked
we'll-
about before, you're gonna need a floor plan for the buildings. Certainly, the fire department's gonna wanna know what the structure is made of, what kind of frame it is, what kind of attic space there is. They're gonna need all of that for protection on whoever's gonna be there. They also heard, you didn't do yourself any favor by having a real short, narrative.
Mhm.
It would be better to give us a narrative
Yep.
that was as big as, was 15 pages rather than 5 lines.
Yeah,
To describe for us everything from soup to nuts, so we're not going back and forth. What do you say about this? What do you say about that? We need to know,
That's on my list too.
and that determines then what you're gonna have to do.
Right.
So if you say it's 226 people, which is the number I came up with by your numbers,
24.
right? That's the math, 226. That's what you need.
224,
224. You're right. On a banker who can't count. So 224. When we go to the Department of Health, that's how many inhabitants.
right.
You're also gonna have a kitchen there. So all that kind of stuff has to do with.
And the workers on site.
But the most important thing is to do on these buildings, I'm familiar with them, the lighting, the floor plan, the fire plan, the parking plan, the in and out plan. Zorian was indicating that noise, it's certainly noise, but are you going to have an amplification?
You having a concert?
No.
Yeah.
Well, that would.
You're gonna have
The
speakers
embers
when
would
every building. Announcers,
Yes.
lunchtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, the PA system is the concern because
Yeah,
of the,
the PA system. Okay, just.
because those will be items in your condition of approval. So I'm gonna let you come up for air for a second.
The last
ahead.
thing I want to say is, you need to plan for everything.
Absolutely.
If, right now you're saying, well, I don't think we're gonna have a mixer, but, maybe we'll do it down the road. Well, that's just gonna cause problems.
Let's get it on.
Here, or it's gonna cause problems with the building inspector, because you gotta get him to do it anyway.
Like you said, we're probably gonna get it in now and probably build it, I don't know.
And put on the map where it's gonna be.
Right.
If there's gonna be a swimming pool, where is it gonna be? Well, there is one, so.
There is,
Right.
for the consoles.
So anyway, that's all I
That's
got
good.
for now.
So let's talk about signage. Okay, that was an item on my list, and then we'll talk about cooking. So signage, I'm sorry, Zorian, I apologize. Go ahead.
There's so many kids inside, it would be advisable and for their safety to have a fence on the property, so if they want to cross the road, they don't cross everywhere. They cross only at the end.
That's
So,
reasonable.
yes, it is.
Thank you, Nancy. Children.
I think you did that at Pine Grove
Or we
too,
could do like
And I did it at the fire road.
post.
but that's a different clientele.
See, the fire road, more.
You determine if you need it or not. All right, so let's talk about signage. So the signage code in the town of Rochester is very specific as to how many signs and how many square feet of aggregate you can have in total.
Okay.
I don't know what they had previously, but I know that they had a sign at the corner of Upper Cherrytown and Sampson Road. They had a sign at the entrance, and I believe they had a sign where they had, deliveries. Regardless of what you're gonna do, when you bring the signage plan, remember that your entire aggregate is what we're looking for. It needs to be under 100 square feet is what our town code is. So all of your signs combined, you can have 40 signs, but they might only need to be this big, where you might have some signs that need to be bigger depending on its location. So when you go through the signage codes, we're very specific as to that. Sorian mentioned about landscaping, and Rick is our landscaping expert. So when you get a landscaping engineer or whoever is going to provide that, give us some time to look that over so we can have that brought some suggestions as to what you're proposing. In addition to the landscaping plan, there is a bond that is required based on the landscaping. So you're going to actually propose, I'll just throw around number of $10,000 of landscaping. We require a 10% bond that goes to the town, where the bond is placed ahead of time in case anything dies.
Right.
We use that money to replace it. So you're actually going to provide a quote or an invoice from somebody of what your landscaping is and the cost to install it, and then we set a bond. Okay, so just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, cooking. You cooking on site, I anticipate, for everybody, but not a restaurant to the public.
No.
This would just be, okay. So you're gonna need to speak with the Ulster County Department of Health about the cooking environment, what the fans are, the stove, and all the requirements for fire suppression system. Peter, you're gonna get to that in a couple minutes when we get there, I anticipate, but that was on my list for that. And then the only other thing I had was the pond. There's a couple of walking trails that goes to the pond. There's a spillover of the pond that goes across the road that's been there forever. Are you proposing anything with the pond?
We're not planning at the moment to do anything except maybe a gate around it.
Okay, that's where I was going,
Correct,
just to liability.
correct.
Okay.
Liability, but, other than that, we just gonna leave it as is.
Okay.
Actually had one of the fire department came to say they used to do exercise.
Yeah, that was back in the day, right? That was location.
Just came by 2 weeks ago. One of the guys were there, they asked if they could still use it, and I said, no problem.
Sure, of course.
For now, basically.
That's where you're testing for pump, right?
No, it's a draft site, so it's for your benefit.
Okay.
It is with the community benefit, because we don't have any hydrants here, so it's a draft site for everyone.
I see, gotcha.
And obviously, whatever kind of mosquito control necessary, that will work with the Ulster County Health Department on that issue.
So those were my items. You're not proposing any architectural changes of what's pre-existing. You're not painting the buildings, you're not tearing the siding down.
No.
Just whatever is there and it needs to be fixed, you'll fix it with what's there. Zach? Gotcha.
Zorian pretty much touched on all my topics. I think it's acceptable to ask for time periods during the day on which the buses will be flowing in and out of the facility, because you're in a very residential area, and just like on, where the Pine Grove is, it gets very busy, traffic builds up. So I think that would be important to know for our as well.
Yeah, well,
You probably have to identify that business plan still, but
all right, so.
Like,
Going to will probably Thursday afternoons and basically Sunday mornings leaving.
Right.
so Kevin, let's add that to the narrative.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're probably talking the fall, winter, and spring,
Right.
mostly people using their cars. That's why we have the parking
Right,
lot.
but for the summertime, we need.
Summertime, yeah.
Because you're gonna bus in and out same day, right?
We, just the staff who's gonna stay there, their kids will go probably either to Pine Grove or somewhere
Understood.
else,
Okay.
because we don't have the smaller children any,
You don't have the occupancy.
correct,
Okay, or you don't have anything for them to do.
correct.
Right, and the kids that come for the day, they'll be bused in. And bused
Yeah,
out.
they'll be in at eight.
What time do they bus in? What time do they bus out?
In the summer months, in at 8, out by 5. Peter?
Yeah, I got,
Couple of bunch of questions.
Sure.
One I had was that there's a letter in the file that said, to the planning board that attached please find the site plans dated May 22nd. It said proposed use has already been approved.
I caught that too.
I think that it was because it was a previously approved site from the
But
previous owner.
But it's a change of use.
It's a change of use, so that doesn't matter.
Okay,
I think, I think the,
yeah,
it
that's
was
a letter
approved
submitted by Mr. Kaplan.
yeah, it was,
In May
sometimes
this year.
when people read the building inspector's plan, they assume that they're approved, because all the building inspector says it complies with zoning, meaning that it's allowed for zoning,
Right.
but it's allowed under a special use permit, so I was gonna pick that up and I say, yeah, but I'm glad you did. He's wrong, it hasn't been approved, that's
Yeah.
why he's here.
Right. The CEO determination has been completed.
Okay,
That's why he's in front of us.
Yeah, but it's just. that's not-
And you have a temporary from Ulster County of the septic wells.
But you don't have approval to do anything. You don't have you don't have site plan approval, that's why.
That's from here, right?
So that's actually not correct, but it can be interpreted as being a misunderstanding.
Understood.
And what is, do we know what the current occupancy was? I had heard that it used to be, as Mark said, it used to be one person per room. It's like
60 plus staff.
60 plus staff.
That's what I understood.
And so are we deviating from that dramatically? And if there's a day camp, they're coming and going during the day, why do we need 4 beds per room?
No,
It's
it's
not-
it's stayed overnight.
It's overnight, it's a
Overnight,
summer
okay.
camp, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, so day camp means that's what I was confused.
Well, no, day camp meaning for 2 months a year.
Correct.
He's bringing them in and bringing them out the same day.
No, it's
No,
not.
no, no.
That's what I'm confused, because they're.
We just talked about busing in at 8 and leaving at 4. What changed?
When the changing shifts,
Okay,
you say, okay.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, that's why,
Hang on, let's see what
that's
he's,
why the narrative needs to be specific.
right,
Yeah, okay.
go ahead.
It, two months out of the year, July and August, there will be the boys coming up there, they will stay there for 2 months. Except of going home, I don't remember.
A week,
2 times,
whatever it is.
yeah.
So they come up
Weekends.
once at the beginning of the summer, they stay for 2 months, and they go
Correct.
home at the end of summer.
Correct.
So there's not a switch out of kids during the
No,
summer.
we've got a kids except of younger
Well,
children
he's-
will be bussed in and out.
For the
go to
day.
Different camps, their schooling, because we don't have facilities for
Wait.
the younger children.
Wait.
Right, so you have a lot of uses going on, right? The first use is, no, hang on. The first use is a 10-month bed and breakfast.
Correct.
That's this use over here.
All
Then
right,
you have another use, which is a 2-month
camp,
camp.
summer
But
camp.
during that same 2-month camp, you also have day switches where you're bringing people in, younger kids, and then they're leaving the same day.
No, the kids who are from the staff members, who are sleeping there, who are there with the kids.
Yep.
Are gonna be bussed out to different camps.
Okay.
They're not gonna be
Children
coming in.
of the staff
Okay.
member.
Yeah, you got there's three uses going
And
on.
I think that.
Well, wait.
Okay, let's see what Dave says.
When you, during the summer.
Yes.
You have kids staying for the summer.
Correct.
At the same time, are you also gonna be providing service for other camps to
No.
bus in on a daily basis?
The kids who are staff members,
I'm not-
kids,
Are you, for the general public, you've got
No.
kids there for the summer, are you also
Nobody
bringing
comes.
in kids from other camps for the day?
So you're self-contained for those 2 months.
correct.
So what,
Kids going out,
What kids?
Why are
going
kids
in?
going?
meaning
The children of the
children
children
from staff,
How many kids is that, 5, 10, 15?
yes.
Yeah.
Give or take, 20.
Well, to Peter's
Minimal.
point, the capacity of those rooms is 1 person per room.
Right.
There was an alcohol, you wouldn't have 2 alcoholics together.
Correct.
It's 1. I can tell you all about that.
They actually had
But
4.
so there's 1,
according to.
maybe there's a dormitory,
Mhm.
but the capacity at one time was in the 70s. Talking to Mrs.
Cusack.
Cusack, plus staff. You got it up to 226. You got water and facilities with 1 person per room, in average. Now you're bumping it to
Well, we
226.
used to have, let's say, 70,
70 people there
yeah,
for a
70
period of
people
time until they got that.
for rehab,
Right.
but they also had another 70 for a staff member.
No, they didn't have 70 staff.
They have over 60.
No, last I knew, it was a doctor, a psychiatrist, the Cusacks lived on site, and the cooks. And then there was a maintenance worker.
And they went home one
I wasn't there when
They went home. and-
Yeah, they didn't stay on site. They would go home. But I mean, again, so what we are, this is our focus is if it's originally 60 and then now it's 224, that's a 4 times change. If it's 60 and now it's 80, that's not as big of a change. Based on what you're telling me, you're gonna put 4 kids in a room for 2 months consecutive, 60 straight days of 224 kids. A lot of babysitting to do. Okay, so we need to satisfy that concern, the occupancy needs to be met with the Board of Health. That's not our purview. As long as they said that occupancy is okay, then the fire guys look over what they're looking for, and if they're happy, then we can move on. If we get the Board of Health says it can only handle 160, that'll be your capacity. If the fire district says it can only handle, again, I'm throwing numbers out, but if it can only handle 80, that's the number we're gonna go on. So just keep that in mind for occupancy status.
Well, occupancy status is set by New York State, not by the
Correct.
department. It's set by New York State codes, and I don't know what the codes are, but it's based upon whether it's permanent occupancy, temporary occupancy, summer camp of 3 months, summer camp of 6 months, summer camp of 1 month. They're all different standards at the New York State level.
Right.
So, and you're trying to stand on purview, where it comes into mind is you need to get the proper permits, and we're gonna be looking for them to make sure that you have the right number of kids in those rooms based on the size of the rooms. We're gonna want that. We're not gonna set it, but we're gonna wanna see it. He's gonna wanna see it because he wants to know how many people are gonna be in each room for fire purposes. And then the Department of Health is gonna wanna know what that number is.
For water and
They'll tell
septic.
you whether or not you have septic or water. But we don't set that number.
Correct.
And it has nothing to do with the Department of Health. It has to do with another department up there that determines occupancy of any building, this building.
Temporary, permanent, whatever.
So I just want
So Dave, are you okay on the uses?
I do have one question. You're gonna be providing camp for, about 220 some odd kids, but at the same time, you're gonna be, but,
200 together with staff.
what do
It's
you
not
mean?
gonna be 200.
200 total people
Total
with,
people.
including staff.
How big is the staff?
About, I will get 25.
25.
That range.
And are the staff also staying in the floor of the room?
Correct,
So these are adult staff floor of the room and the kids floor of the room?
correct, separate wings.
And
It's like going to college all over again.
you're anticipating that the staff have children,
Correct,
and they're gonna stay in the rooms too,
correct.
but you're gonna bust them out during the day?
To day camps.
So they might go to different places.
I get that, but
They might go to the skate time.
why are you busing kids out of your camp to a camp?
Because
They're small.
Yeah.
They don't have enough to do.
We have only 13 enough.
So the kids you're serving are 13 and up,
Correct.
and the staff kids are
Staff
whatever
kids
they are.
are 5 years old, I don't know.
And the total for everybody, the staff kids,
Correct.
the staff and you, and the kids, the clients are gonna be about 220.
Peter, I interrupted you here.
I think we're back to Peter. Go ahead.
What's going on there now?
Currently,
Yeah,
we had it, I discussed it with the chairman regarding, we had the school who is right now, they have a facility in Sullivan County and South Fallsburg, where the kids are going, and they also have the division where not the standard people. I don't know how to pronounce it, I don't know how to say it, and people who are not on the straight track are right now, they're
We talked about this.
correct, I don't know how to.
Warning.
Not from the education.
Potentially a disability.
Alright.
Developmentally disadvantaged.
Potentially. We're not, there's no classification, but what they have been doing is they have been focusing on rehabilitation for potentially disabled kids.
Okay, doing that now.
Correct. Which I believe it's about to end, I think, correct?
Yeah, it's only Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Under one permit.
The code enforcement office.
That was okay.
I mean, having been there a couple of times.
You can see the kids, they pull down the fire alarm
Yeah, they,
4 or 5 times, you know, you don't see it here happening.
no, the density of people that were there is from a fire emergency perspective is dangerous. In my opinion, because of, there didn't seem to be a real plan. There's a plan, evacuation plan, an assembly plan. And was no sort of accountability for who was there when we were there. And that's, I'm saying that as a member of the fire department. But obviously it blurs over into this is because the safety concerns are something that we're all concerned with. And having that, and the density of people that were there and not knowing how many people are there is a real concern. And that there will be something that'll concern all of us. And then, as people have said before, the number of people, if it's beyond the approved level, then that becomes a concern for water and septic and health department. Besides occupancy, and I know that the rooms are, as I recall, were designed for one person at a time. And they're many more than one person at a time. What I saw recently.
Correct. Currently, there is 100 boys in that file with about 20 staff at the moment. Like I said, according to the Department of Health, it's approved for that. According to the fire department, we have to see what the.
So as we move forward, we'll just need to identify that. Like I said, you're gonna have to meet with the fire squad, and they're gonna look for the safety plan, the evacuation plan. Do you have fire extinguisher? All of those fire suppression system, wherever is required, they're gonna have a detailed list for you to comply.
I did have an inspection here before the summer, and that one passed.
A fire safety inspection?
Correct.
That was from the town, right?
Correct.
Will or
And things changed.
Will and Mike, sure.
Fire extinguishers were up to date.
Sure.
The alarm system was up to date. The hood by the kitchen, I forgot the name of it, was inspected and up to date. Speaker system was up to date.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's nobody.
But there was nobody
Have you ever
there
been
at
in
that
a
time.
fire with a bunch of kids, and the kids don't know what they're doing?
I
was a
never
grammar
been
school
in a fire at
teacher.
all.
I was a grammar school teacher in Long Island City many years ago, 71, 72. We had a small fire in this school. It was a private school, right? And pardon my French, it was a shit show because we didn't have it. There wasn't a plan where the kids were supposed to go. And they all got out because it was just a small fire, trash fire set by one of the kids, right? I mean, I'm not your father, I'm not your uncle, but I'm telling you, he may have through the sprinkler system where the alarms are electrically working. And you have 100 kids running around like Indians, pulling all sorts of stuff, and there's a fire, you're up the creek. And I'm not gonna be involved.
Well, that's-
I'm not gonna approve something.
Well, Rick, in this nature of what we're doing right now is we're gonna give him a list and a post-meeting letter.
Well, you're absolutely.
They have to work on all these items.
4 people to a room that's made for one person.
Well, you also have to realize that one person was an adult. Here we're talking about 4 kids between the age 13 and 18, I'll say.
What's the difference?
And they're boys,
Well,
so they're.
It's worse.
You can have,
You can stack them.
Again, the occupancy, that's set by somebody, another person. They might tell you you can only have 100, and then we'll go from there.
We'll address it by
Yeah.
investigating the square
Yeah,
footage
sure.
of the rooms. Some rooms are big, some rooms are small, and that's what will determine how many beds go in those individual rooms. And then that gives us the total, the final total.
Absolutely. Peter, anything else?
Yeah, just a
Quick one?
question, because the board is
Sure.
is about how does that work with overnight lodging throughout the rest of the year, short-term rentals?
So again, that's a different use.
Yes.
So now we'll need to focus, Dave will do when he does his look at of special use, how many, where, how often, and what that can meet for the bed and breakfast side of things, which we need to determine if that's even an approved use in this zoning district at all. It was a hotel, but it required a special use for the hotel. So if the hotel is even an option anymore, resort, hotel, call it what you want, we need to identify what that defines by in our code, and then we can work the use from there.
So when it was Veritas, was it considered a hotel, classified as a hotel use?
The Veritas Villa originally, back before Veritas, was a hotel. Then when Veritas bought it in the 60s, it was considered an alcohol and rehabilitation location. So the hotel use was out and the special use was an alcohol and rehabilitation location. So now we have a change of use. We're going, potentially, one of the uses is gonna go back to a hotel. I don't even know, I haven't got that far, if that's even an allowed use in this district. It might be that might be a site plan approval compared to what he's proposing as a special use permit. So there's a lot of moving parts on the actual use, and Dave, when he does his review, which will set escrow and do that, we can identify what's needed if even allowed.
Okay, would it be considered, would you do it as a hotel or as a bunch of individual short-term rentals?
It will be basically groups coming up for the weekend. It's not gonna be an in and out.
But you would rent the room, right?
Well,
Well, just tell me how does that work? So you have somebody, a family of four, I come up and I want to stay?
basically.
So I'm renting a room or a weekend?
It's a group of, I don't know, 50, let's say.
Okay, so you'd have like a retreat
Correct.
where you could have a whole group of people come there for the weekend. Okay, so that
Gonna
could be,
individual nights.
so you'd be renting the whole place if that's, so it's not gonna be single use hotel occupancy. You call the Holiday Inn, you need one room, not that. Okay, more of a resort type. So Dave, you're gonna need to look at that use, if it's even in the definition.
Based on the conversation, that district, the
R5 zoning.
potential uses that I'm confused about could be camping resort, which I don't think it meets the definition.
Nope, that's a campground.
Right, well, these are all nuanced.
No, understood.
I don't, so we're gonna have to pin it down, or this board can't figure out what standards to apply. So you have camping resort, which appears to be RVs.
Yeah.
Tent sites. Commercial recreation use, nonprofit recreation use, just two different things.
Oh, no, this is for profit.
A private educational facility, a resort,
Maybe.
or seasonal lodging units. There is no hotel use. There's no hotel.
It sounds like seasonal lodging would be the.
But I didn't, I think you're gonna have to pin that. Legitimately, I talked a lot about the 2 months, but there's the winter, which I guess is not a winter, it's 10 months. Is that what you're?
Correct.
Okay, so in winter around here, we call that 3 months,
Right, so he's saying that 2 months is going to be the day camp months.
which we would call private educational
Correct.
facility.
And then the 10 months.
You're gonna have to look at the,
I know.
we can't tell you, you gotta
I
decide.
understand, I have to see the hand.
You're shaking.
And then the rest of
Why do
the.
you, the use has to be decided by the CEO. We don't decide the uses.
The use is determined as a special use.
You're gonna have to decide from the uses in
No.
that district what you
Code
are.
enforcement is saying we need a special use permit.
Right, he's got to tell us what the use is.
Well, the code enforcement officer said it was 2 uses.
It was 2
Yeah.
uses. One is for a year-round resort, one's for an educational.
Either that answers Dave's question
Of
or
course,
it doesn't.
there's no.
We don't.
The
there's no
reason why-
year-round Resort definition.
Right, the reason why that was an issue at the code enforcement level is because the narrative that that was provided was not detailed enough. So we need more information from the applicant.
No. We don't decide the use. If he
Correct.
doesn't have enough information, he's got to tell us, if they're especially, first he's got to tell us 2 things. One, what the use is, so we know that this is legal, so we know that they're here and don't need a use variance. And 2, as you're indicating, if there are different standards for different uses, he's got to tell us what they are. It is not up to the planning board to determine the uses. That's not our job.
He is proposing those 2 uses, that is what he's saying.
Well,
That's the
what-
applicant.
Right. I mean, I read that too, and
Either this is either.
I mean, I don't know, there's no definition of year-round. There's a resort.
Right.
The resort, you're not proposing to be year-round.
No, just 10 months.
So it's a season, there is a seasonal lodging unit. Which has different standards.
So here's my recommendation.
You've got to decide what you are.
Right. In my recommendation, you need to provide us a narrative and take that narrative back to the code enforcement officer so they can update their determination. So that'll be Amber and Jeff, that'll be your guys' department. So once we get that narrative, which Kevin, I'm sure is gonna type up on your letterhead, then that can go back to the team. Legal team can get the application back to the code enforcement office so we can have a defined use, because we can't do our work until we know what that is.
Yeah, we need to get it all typed up.
But we didn't know until we met tonight, so that's the reason. Helena.
Everything, well, most of the things were covered, fire safety, garbage, landscaping, ADA compliance, safety, noise, fencing, I'm all on that. Where I'm a little confused is we're the way the project was described was it was an Airbnb or it was B&B. And all of our, the maps refer to a resort. So I think we need to know exactly what it is. Then I had another question is that there's going to be some renovations in there where floors are going to be removed, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know the age of the building. Is there asbestos here? I mean, I have no.
That's up to the building. That's a building.
Okay, well, I'm just going through, little.
If they're proposing renovations, it has to be building code.
Okay, so, and I don't know the age of the building, so I don't know what you're going to encounter when you're doing that. And then the whole other thing about if you have 4 kids in a room, and we've been beating this horse to death, you're gonna turn around and it's gonna be a resort with adults. How are you gonna get the adults in the room? Are you gonna move the furniture out of the room?
That's what they do in a hotel.
Okay,
I mean,
just saying, we're
yeah.
packing 4 kids in a room, ages.
Well, we're not.
That's.
We have to see if that even is allowed yet. We're putting the cart before the horse.
Okay, but you can see it doesn't make sense to me. I'm
Right.
having a
Well, again,
problem
like I
wrapping my
said,
head around.
we'll do a more detailed analysis of the square footages on the floors. Like I said, there may be some rooms where 4 beds can easily fit in there. There may be rooms where only 2 beds. can
Right,
fit.
and remember, this is for profit, so they're trying to expand their 2 months that they're using as a camp
I understand.
to try to make money for the other 10 months. This is their proposal.
But I'm just saying, it's a little confusing.
Sure.
Because it's unclear. There's a
Understood.
lot of different descriptions.
There's a lot of moving parts.
A lot of descriptions.
So we've given you guys an array of things. Before we waste your time, we're gonna set escrow tonight. We will set, we'll do 7,500 to start. 7,500, that check's made to the town of Rochester. They can get that with Jasmine, and once we get that, and then we can get our engineers and everybody involved. First things first, number 1, get a detailed narrative, get it on a letterhead, get it to the code enforcement so that they can proceed once they see that. That will keep the ball rolling, okay? In order to get on October's agenda, this might be too much going on, but if you have the opportunity and you've got your team working as fast as it sounds like they're gonna be, September 30th is your date. Okay?
Thank you.
Alrighty, see you guys then. Thank you. All right. Okay. Mr. Ringler, you're next after a 5-minute, if that's okay.
I have a question.
Alrighty.
Under 140-50 referrals for special use permit.
Yep.
It states.
Is this in relation to this application?
Yeah, it's just a quick.
Oh, just question. Go
It's
ahead.
just a question.
Yep.
It says, the board shall ensure the requirements of the general municipal law regarding review by the Ulster County Planning Board are met. So does this mean we need to?
We have to send it, but we are way too early for that.
Yeah, but I just.
Eventually, once we are happy with everything, then we'll send it to them, and Dave will have that on his list.
Just asking questions.
Okay, 5 minutes, quick, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, however you want to do.
I can average. Fine.
Yeah.
I get one. How many times I can have to call up 911 for bus accident, it's not my turn.
Oh, I know where you guys.
I live right in the corner of Leghorn and Sampson. How many bus accidents? It's just a freaking nightmare.
It's a farm
operation. Already walking down the road. I'm already walking through our yard.
You might be right about
Yeah.
some stuff in the hills.
Through our yard. No. When?
You can look it up. I went to the funeral. I couldn't make you wait. I went to the funeral.
Nobody called me though. Yeah, number one.
We'll bang the next week.
No, just send it.
3, 8, 9.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. Correct, just like we did on. While we're breaking quickly, I'm gonna give you guys some update on your training hours. Helena has 4.5, which is good enough for the year. She don't need any more training for the remainder of this
Oh,
calendar
okay,
year.
by the way, there's that new, DEC wetlands.
If you,
I think, I don't know, it's in my phone.
if you want it, I think it's tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah.
That would count towards next year's hours. That's a good idea. Rick has 3.5, so Rick, I need a half hour. Zach has 5.5. You have plenty for the year. Anne Marie has 6.
And then.
And Chair Grasso has 5 and Zorian has 30. You're an overachiever.
Where am I marking?
7.5. Okay, let's get back together here. Moving on. Helena, you ready?
I'm ready.
2024-22, a minor subdivision in R2 zoning district for Spencer Santowski. Mr. Ringler is here representing them. Terry, good to see you back. This is at 25 Wood Road. The applicant is proposing a 4-lot subdivision off of Wood Road, which all meets zoning requirements. Terry, I believe there's an existing dwelling on one of the proposed 4-lot parcels?
Yeah, lot 4.
Lot 4. So there's 3 new lots, 1 existing. Thank you. Okay, you pass out the maps already? Everybody's got maps?
No.
No. Oh. All right. Pass the maps. You guys have maps? Okay, Terry, give us the elevator speech.
Well, first off, Mr. Santowski has passed away since we submitted the application.
Okay.
So I believe that this is going to be being handled by his estate.
Okay.
I'm still waiting word from the attorney as to how we are moving forward with that as far as ownership, what's transpired or not.
Okay.
So basically, we got Wood Road separating the parcel. So lot 1 could be considered now subdivision.
I agree.
So we really don't feel that we need to do anything further with that.
Okay.
Lot 4 has an existing trailer on it, well, septic, sheds.
You're not proposing any changes there?
No changes there.
Okay.
Santowski's son resides there. The purpose was to give that to his son.
Understood.
And then lots 2 and 3 are proposed new lots. Mr. Santowski was working on getting the septic done.
Okay.
I don't know where we are in that
Who's doing them?
process. I'm not sure
Okay.
who he had hired. We started this process back in 2021. When I went to code enforcement, they said there was too many zoning violations on
Okay.
the son's lot. They all had to be resolved.
Understood.
Shortly before Mr. Santowski had his motorcycle accident, they came to me, asked where we were with it. I told them he had to resubmit to the town, so they did. So here we are.
Okay, in the donut hole.
I haven't had much update because of everything that's happened with the family.
Okay.
So the 2 lots that we're proposing, that would be on the east side of Wood Road.
Yep.
About 3 lots.
Any wetlands here, Terry?
No.
Sure, I just have a.
Sure.
And put back in check. Just have a question. Terry was designated by Mr. Santowski.
Yep.
Now, Dan.
Yep.
Will be the reps. Legally, what do we need to do?
Dave, so we have a member who signed a letter of authorization.
Oh, we have a new one?
We have a previous one from the previous owner. How does this play out now?
We need a new one. The person's no longer able to authorize.
Okay.
So
So
that was,
another question, yeah.
Yeah, the state will have to, authorize you.
right, and I don't even know if it's been put in the state yet, or if it's still in limbo. It was all submitted prior to his passing.
When an executor gets appointed, then that person will be able to pick up the business of to the seat.
I assume there's an attorney.
That they could have done.
I assume there's an attorney somewhere, somebody's involved.
Yes,
Could go to
Rover.
public.
Okay.
At some point, the court will appoint a person
executive.
to begin to execute the responsibility of the estate. And it's not just menial, because they got, I mean, this will involve some investment of money, and the state has to decide if it wants to invest the money in the same way that the decedent had decided that. So we don't know.
Right. My understanding was the wife wanted to proceed, move along as
Well,
soon as we
if she's the
could.
executrix, then she should just go ahead and
get her.
Right,
authorization.
which I haven't been able to determine yet. at this
It's too early.
point.
Okay. So, unfortunately, without that, Terry,
No, I'm
not to be the bearer of bad news, but I gotta have somebody who says you can do this.
here.
We can go around while it's fresh in our mind to get notes, so at least when you come back, you can have an
Well,
understanding.
that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You know, since we're here, maybe we could just talk about it real quick, a little
Sure.
bit, and then next time I come.
At least you're more prepared. So I'll go around the room and get everybody's feedback. You can take it and we'll move on. Soren, you have anything for this? Yeah.
There are code, there should be parcel address, parcel address.
25 Wood Road, we need to get that on the map.
It should be on the map.
Sure. Yes, because they're not at, they have the PO box.
Then, what was the intention for lot one? Is it conservation? What was it?
No, that's a natural subdivision. It's naturally subdivided by the road and by town code.
Right.
It's, as soon as we come here, you know, technically it's a separate lot by itself.
Right. We don't-
Now,
we
the
really
board
can't
doesn't have
ask for
anything to
anything.
say about it, except say, okay, yeah, it is.
We agree.
So
It's
it
a,
basically says
Right.
alone. and-
hypothetically, he could come and just do a natural subdivision. It would be just like a lot line. We would certify it. The road breaks it. That's done.
As typically, we would like to see 1 foot radius proposed wells.
Yep.
And location of septics.
Good one. So the 100-foot, once you get your septic design,
Yes, I'm waiting on the septic design before I put it, because they may move the wells, they may, you know, that's. I'm kind of in the limbo of that, of waiting for the engineer to get me that.
Agreed.
Then we would show that out.
Keep it in mind.
Yep.
And side view from lot number 2, for driveway, is that enough, not enough? I'm getting out, looking to the left.
where does this come out on, Terry? Doug?
Yes, I'm done, road.
And what's the other way it comes out? Or is it dead end?
It dead ends.
Is it private?
No, it's a town
No,
road.
it's a town road.
I did not know that. Wood Road. I thought it was a private road.
In fact, it's actually a dedicated town road.
Wow,
That's why we have the widths and the boundaries shown.
interesting. Okay, Rick?
Sure, to get an answer to the site.
Side distance, that's sufficient to see.
It dead ends, so I don't think
That
that's,
will be different lots there.
you're talking about lot 2?
Yeah, if somebody is coming out of lot 2 and they look at on the left, they would be able to see who's coming from lot 3. And lot
I think
4.
let's get Terry as the authorized representative, and then we might do a site visit to look at that.
Right, what I can tell you is that there's absolutely zero traffic on this road, other than the 4 houses that are there.
No, I understand, but
And the site distance from each of those is well over 100 feet for a 30-mile-an-hour zone. So I think we're sufficient, more than sufficient. But we can move that, you know,
well, I don't know.
we can move it all the way up to.
Might flip the well in the driveway.
Where we at L17, we can move it all the way over there. The contour, there's nothing restricting it as far as contours or anything. We just put it on there and to show that it would fit.
Cool. Rick?
The only 2 things I have, sorry, in the aquifer zone, just need to mark that's in there.
AP overlay district.
The overlay. And also, and sort of, I don't know where you go with this comment, but you need the deed, we didn't get a deed for the property, so we need a deed.
And
See, the issue was that all that was submitted back in 2021, and with the changing of.
Multiple times.
The multiple secretaries that have changed, I think things have gotten lost, but yes, that was included in the original packet, and make sure that we get another copy.
Okay, so we just need,
And that's probably gonna change again.
What, you leaving?
No, the deed, she's better not be leaving. The deed is gonna change again if there's gonna be an ownership change from the state. There could be an ownership.
I'm gonna say
I'm
that.
not allowed.
That's right.
Making sure we understand each
They'll
Exactly.
lock up my door.
Go ahead, Dave.
But we need to clarify that the authorization will come from the owner of the land, not necessarily that whoever was gonna be doing the development. So if the decedent and his wife owned it jointly, for example, that can actually happen very quickly without.
They did.
Okay, so.
They were just recently married.
Okay, so was there like a trust or something like that? or-
Well, no, it was just originally in Spencer's name. And then.
Okay.
They got married after and it didn't
Yeah,
get changed.
a lady, you know, later on in life, thing.
There's no joint, there's no,
Right, and that's what's caused a lot of the confusion right now. And I tried to speak to the attorney, and the attorney wasn't sure where things were going, and I'm like, I need to have these answers before I get to the planning board.
That's all right.
And unfortunately, we didn't get them, but at least we'll get this stuff taken care of.
Yeah. Zach?
No, I mean, I was wondering if it was a town road or not. The other thing is there's a lot, I've driven up Wood Road probably 3 months ago, just out of curiosity, and there were 2 houses that had a lot of debris and garbage outside and abandoned vehicles. I don't know if this house was one of them.
Were you more towards the end?
No, I turned around.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far in.
So I saw it, and I just want to make sure that if we do go through the subdivision, that's.
So apparently, there's a lot of zoning violations, and that was why we couldn't move forward.
Okay.
And that was all cleaned up and taken care of, and that's what Jerry said that we could move forward.
Okay.
Was that lot 4?
Yes.
That was lot 4,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
But I think what you're talking about would be the next lot, down just to the.
I'm possibly where there looks like there's a cars on the
Oh,
other
yeah.
side and stuff.
Couple trailers, this,
Yeah.
that, the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Peter?
That was my question too.
Okay.
Everything's been satisfied with the building department.
That's how they're
We're
here.
Okay, yeah. And just a minor grammar school teacher, Doug Road is misspelled on the survey.
Yeah, it's DUG.
Yeah.
Hey, Doug.
It looks fine to me.
Helena?
Different Doug Road.
You're all set.
Do we have a driveway profiles? Lot 2? It's lot, how,
Yeah, Terry, what's your spacing on your topo here? Are you concerned about driveway grade?
Red note 8, you find that.
what church?
That's the problem. Nobody wants to read notes on it.
Well, if I look at this computer, I can see.
When you emailed me the PDF, it came in sideways.
It always does, but it's just a 24 by 36. You gotta rotate.
I can't rotate anything and don't let me do nothing.
They don't give you a good PDF program.
No.
Tell them to spend $75 and get your Fox Pro.
Are you good on the driveways?
Didn't get the answer, so there is.
What does what does line number 8 say? Read it out loud. I can't see.
Shown here, from the, also counted 2.
2-foot contour data set and are shown for informational purposes.
Okay.
So then we're all set.
Yeah.
You'll need a driveway permit. We'll talk about that when we get down the road. I need Board of Health again, get down the road when you get on that. The lots look narrow with the setbacks, Terry, so just confirm that your house sizing, I don't know what that, you're building a 90-foot wide or if it's a 40. But just make sure that that
Their
fits.
intention, from what my understanding is,
Sure.
their intention is to sell the lot.
Oh, understood, okay.
Okay.
So as long as they meet
so-
within those setbacks, we'll
So, show the setbacks, whoever buys the lot is gonna have to,
driveway permit, Okay.
they'll have to handle all of that.
you're all set.
Okay.
See you when we see you. Can you bring another application? We haven't seen you in a while.
And you see, here's the thing, this is called retirement.
I was honestly racking my brain, even trying to remember when the last commission meeting was.
It's been too long,
Well,
but enjoy the fishing pole.
Enjoy the who?
The fishing pole.
Well, I just got back to the area.
Perfect.
I'm heading back. Right,
All right. Well, we'll see you on the flip side when you're ready.
yeah, and I'm trying to leave all this planning board stuff for the engineer. I'm happy being a surveyor, but let all them do this planning stuff with the engineers.
We appreciate that.
Take care.
All right, thanks, Terry.
Have a good one.
Okay, Matt, you're back, and we have you for the rest of the night. Okay, 2024-26, a major subdivision in R5 zoning district. It's a new application on 481 Medica Hunks Road. This is Meadow Lake LLC and owner Eric Lifton. The applicant is proposing an 8-lot major subdivision, which includes an HOA, 2 common area lots, and utilization of existing curb cuts off Medica Hunks Road. Eric, nice to meet you in person. Great to speak with you.
Matt's gonna give all the technical details, but I want to introduce myself. I'm Eric Lifton. I'm the co-owner and architect. It's my wife, Bessie Smith, and we're just excited to be here.
Great, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
So Matt's a pro. Matt, give us the 30-second elevator speech.
Yep, so 481 Medicalist Road, major subdivision is 65.96 acres in the R5 zoning district. It's currently vacant, there's meadow, woods, pond, Rochester Creek runs along the western portion of the lot. There's stone walls on the property, we're gonna do our best not to disturb those. We're proposing subdivision of 8 single-family residential lots. It's gonna be 2 common lots. It's an HOA subdivision, 2 common lots for use by members of the HOA. One is a tennis court and parking area. The other one's got an activity barn, pool, and then it also has the pond for use. Let's see, the residential lots all range in size from 5 acres, 5.09 to 6 acres, all larger than minimum required. Common lots are 5.57 to 16.77. So we anticipate there's going to be over 5 acres of disturbance. We'll verify that, but you know, if that does occur, we'll prepare a full SWIP in order to get the speedies permit.
Yep.
The pond is considered an HCOE wetland. We're not going to disturb it at all. The Rochester Creek is a DEC Class A stream. We're not going to disturb that. There's a 100-year floodplain. Everything we're proposing is outside of that. There's a small area of poor forest on the west side of the property. There's minimal disturbance to that area where the barn and pool are proposed. We're actually planning to maybe move those a little closer. That's still up in the air. So, you know, we're going to do everything we can to protect the core forest. So that's, yeah, health department.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the driveways. So you have 2 separate driveways, both are pre-existing.
Yeah, they're existing
Right,
driveways.
so thank you for using them again. Are you gonna do a shared option 1, are you gonna do a shared driveway agreement? Doesn't sound like that. Is the HOA gonna maintain that, option 2? Or are you gonna have a, you know, a road maintenance agreement where they're all gonna chip in? What is the, Eric, is your goal that everybody's gonna pay $200 a month to maintain?
That will, you know, landscaping.
Okay.
Plowing the snow.
Sure.
doing all
Okay, great. So that's the X amount of dollar fee that is gonna be ran by the homeowners association. Obviously, you're gonna be a part of that. And then that'll be carried out to each homeowner by deed. Okay, great. So that's good. We're gonna need that homeowners association document, which I believe we already have. Once we get escrow today, talk about escrow, then Dave can review that homeowner association, get it back to you, your attorney. If you would rather they talk, which is what I like, let the 2 attorneys talk together and let them hash it out, red mark it up. Then that's easier. And then Dave Gordon will get started on his aspect. Once we identify what everybody goes around the room today, we'll identify if there's any engineering concerns. We'll get it to our engineers. Obviously, you're the engineer architect, so you're going to be on the other side of that conversation. So we'll talk about that as we go. These are all 2-story homes, all of them.
They haven't all been designed yet.
Okay.
But we've got a couple of prototypes and yes.
Okay, full basements.
Yeah.
Okay, great. They'll all each have their own individual well and septic. So we're going to need the 100-foot buffer once you decide where those. I'm on the map that I asked you to bring. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Let me get the other map.
Cluttered one.
Okay. So once we get, there we go. So once you identify, have you done any test holes or anything?
I haven't done soil testing yet, but it's beautiful soil. It's all a acoustic sandy.
So you're all in the ground.
Yeah, it's
No
it's
matter.
going to be-
Okay. So that helps. That helps for sure. The next elephant in the room is obviously our goal is a conservation subdivision in the town of Rochester. We talked about it on his previous application and the 14 that we've done that were more than 4 lots in the past. We just finished a 4-year project on Lucas Turnpike, which is a 10-lot subdivision that we did a conservation with the nature of this land and the pond, you know, because I'm sure you're going to try to obviously not touch that, but you're gonna use it as a location for making the property more valuable, of course. Is that on the table? A conservation subdivision?
Yeah, I'd like to know more about, I mean, what's funky about this property is that it's been used, it has.
Sure.
It's been used a lot.
And there's not a whole lot of clearing, it's already been done.
It's already been cleared.
Right.
And, you know, it's summer camp for in 50s, 60s, 70s.
Sure.
And we're endeavoring to use those cleared areas as they are. So we're not, this is not like one of these forested things we're gonna be cutting down.
Clear cutting, sure.
We're not doing any of that. We're using the fields that are already there and putting houses there and leaving the forest areas. They're pretty young forests. I think they used to be open not that long ago.
Or it might have been cut to, for wood, logging in the past, we don't know.
But they're all the trees are a little skinny. Anyway,
Okay.
we're gonna leave those pretty much. Obviously, we're leaving the pond, we're gonna maintain it, but we're
course.
gonna leave it as it is.
So the conservation might be off the table. So the purpose of the conservation subdivision on the town's aspect is you get a density bonus, so you can use less land by clustering your housing and then keep everything separate so that it's conserved. In this situation, might not necessarily be needed because you're already using pre-existing cleared areas that are not going to be disturbed any further. So Matt, that'll go back to the SWIP area, which you talked about, which the 5 acre, if you're at that number, that's when the speedies comes in. You might be able to avoid that depending on where you're locating some of these things. So again, that's another conversation we'll get down the road. So a lot going on here. Looks like this actually makes sense for the subdivision because of the existing items that are already open. We'll go around the room and see where we're at. Okay. Zorian?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's too many flag lots here?
Too many flag lots?
Yeah.
I don't see.
No flag.
I don't see any flag lots.
I consider the flag, it's driveway and then subdividing. Spreading out to different lots, it's not considered flooding.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from on that. I think that because they have the amount of pre-existing driveway access, I don't think that that's gonna be a concern. Like normally a flag lot is for the purpose of achieving a 50-foot access so that they can get to a portion in the back. In this situation, they're using land that's already been.
What was it 2 weeks ago?
So that's,
That's not part of it.
that's not part of this. Separate. No, this is an existing road, and we're gonna widen it, improve that to meet standards. And then over here, there's an existing road.
Okay.
Let's just talk about the common lots. So you mentioned tennis court, a barn, you obviously have the lake, right? Is that considered a?
Mark,
Okay, hang on.
common lot.
Yeah.
They are right, it's not wetlands, that's what I'm question.
Right, so that's where I'm going is the common lot, you're not proposing any building on the exception of improvements such as.
Swimming pool.
Oh, swimming pool.
Swimming pool and the barn.
Okay, so that's in a wetlands area, correct?
No,
Yes.
it's not a wetland.
Okay.
No, the only wetland on the site is the pond itself.
Okay, understood.
I look at the.
I'll show it to you.
That's the core forest.
No, core forest is, okay, wetlands, right? This one, and you proposing part of the common and where is it?
It's really hard to read this map.
Anyway, we're gonna make that an item for you to look into. We don't need an answer tonight, but we want to make sure that there's no disturbance or any proposed building in that wetlands. The core forest is fine. Granted, it's clustered, but we want to make sure that if it's in the pond area, which is common lot number, I'm gonna use note number 1.
I don't think you may not be familiar with that, obviously, but the place where we're gonna put the barn and the pool.
Yep.
Is just like it's not like there's like a swamp of frost.
Sure.
It's like a gravelly, bare area.
That's already been cleared.
It's already been.
It's been cleared, right? Okay, so we're gonna just want to see that, check the box, make sure it's not in.
all wetlands, so whatever I see on this, maybe it's somewhere right between that.
So Zorian, we're just gonna make sure that he gets this out. What else, Zorian?
And, we need to delineate 100 feet buffer zone for those wetlands.
100 feet from the highest water mark, yep.
Okay.
So what's that?
So any wetland area that's delineated on a map, Army Corps, you mentioned, whatever is out federal wetlands, we need 100 feet,
That's in the town code?
correct? 100 feet from the highest water mark before you can have any disturbance. So if the highest water mark is at 8 feet, we need 100 feet, 100 from the 8-foot mark. Let's review the wetlands code, it's in there.
How is the pond gonna be used? Because I see on the satellite image, there is a dock there.
A dock, yeah. So pre-existing, when you purchased it, there was a dock that was on the parcel viewer from 2021. What is your goal? Betsy, maybe you can answer. What is your goal as to, is this a picnic area? Is this an area that they're gonna swim in? Fishing?
Swimming, boating, fishing.
So in the HOA, I haven't got that far because it's long, but I would assume you're outlining, motorboats, all those things in the homeowner association. Okay, so
Environmentally forward.
sure. Okay. Gated? Not gated community.
Well,
Are you proposing gates at the access?
I'm not if there'll be physical gates, but it's be private. No,
Okay.
Nothing will be open to the public.
I guess my question is, that you see homeowners associations all over the country that are gated communities.
Right.
This is not one of them, but each house may have its own gate.
Oh, you mean physical? I don't think there'll be any physical.
Anything at all? Okay,
No,
great.
There's gonna be no guards or that.
Understood. That's where I was going. Okay. All right. Zorian, anything else?
I would just want to make sure I understand that point, Mark, about the gated community. Is the question about like where the property starts and how it's.
Yeah, like
marked,
you'd
or-
see subdivisions in Tennessee or North Carolina, and it's a gated subdivision
Yeah.
where they have to have a barcode to get their car in and something like that. Okay.
So, unless you felt like we needed to.
Oh, no,
That's
it's-
really not.
It's all up to you.
That's not.
Not our
That's not our
scene.
vibe.
Understood. That's what I was looking at. Okay,
Uh,
Zorian.
So pond is wetland, most likely gonna be part of the conservation, right?
We'll take a look at
Yeah, and are you gonna go show us core forest, where's core
The
forest?
Fort Forest is outlined already on there.
No.
It's not, it's on another map. It's about-
It has the other one.
It's on the map. On that map, it says Fort Forest Zone right there. Correct, Zorian. On that map that you have, it says Fort Forest Zone on the map.
Yeah, but there's a better map that shows more detail.
Correct.
We should be looking, you should have the detailed map, so you can look at the detail. Again,
I didn't see the
Matt, one of the things I'm dealing with here is.
Well, here's another map right here.
Yeah, you did well.
Oh,
The old
that's the one I wanted.
I want to see the detail with the
Yeah,
stone
why not
fences.
prepare?
So Rick, I asked Matt to provide this map that didn't have as much detail because there was so much going on. It's difficult to see the lines,
Oh,
so.
you're right, and that's why, color coding is very useful. So I think what Zorian's going with this project, my immediate reaction is too many houses. That's my immediate reaction. It covers the whole property, and I know the property is already clear.
Yeah.
But I can't tell. You're crossing a lot of the stone walls. We try not to have the crossing or destruction of stone walls. What's core forest should be marked, and the only way you can do it is marked on the detail. But what I like to see here, I think you have some real steep slopes here, right? They're 20, 25 feet in slope. You got a road going through it. I don't know whether you're going, we prohibit certain roads from going across certain slopes, 25 feet or better. I can't tell whether this main road here is going across a 25-foot slope or not.
Yeah, it's an existing road, and we can certainly reduce the grade and some, but it's definitely less than 20%. I can provide a profile.
All right, so members of the board should be able to look at this and know where the steep slopes are. I see the slope lines, but we used to see in the heat map. You've done it
Sure.
before.
Yeah, and I'll definitely
And this is
provide
just
that.
preliminary. I want
Yeah.
to see a heat map.
Yep.
I want to see something definitive in terms of color coding that tells us where the core forest is, so we don't have to try to follow all the lines. I think it's all here, but they're all black and white lines. Not white, it's all black lines. And I can't tell what's what. And then you do have some core forest, it looks like, that you're going to put houses there because there's a clearing line around one of the driveways. It's lot number 1. you have a clearing line, I think, around the driveway and around the house, so that must be part of the core forest. That you're gonna.
That's not core forest. No, it's not.
Okay, so if I had the core forest on there, I'd know that.
So Matt, on these major subdivisions, in the past, we've asked for multiple page details. So like, for instance, page 1 would be a generic map of the housing locations and the roads. Map number 2 would be topo, heat map. Map number 3 would be what's the detail of the house is gonna be, sizing, what's the HOA gonna look like, and then what's that road of the HOA road that's gonna be maintained, what's the detail of that, 20-foot wide, X amount deep, of the, is it gonna be paved, what are you doing there for the road? Number 4 would be all the outline of where the septics and the wells are gonna be. So because there's a major subdivision here and there's a lot going on,
Right.
to provide the detail like Rick is mentioning, we might need multiple pages.
Sure, absolutely.
So in the next
just wanna
submission.
say I plan on that. I just
Yeah.
kind of wanted to.
Yeah, and I don't want you to do the work 3 times.
General
Let's get the general idea first, but I just given you,
and many more details.
yeah, oh yeah.
I realize that this was a general concept, but I'd sure like to, would move it a little bit more quicker perhaps to get us then, before you come here the next time, to get all those additional layers on them. And I don't know, in major subdivisions, I believe we also have the ability to ask for a different plan. There's not so much usually for the one, clear land.
Right, so
Mark mentioned before about the conservation subdivision, the idea of having these things more clustered on less property, more clustered. You can preserve more of the land under that concept. You would have less infrastructure to put in terms of road, lake, and anything else, if you were to cluster them in one fashion. So with the major subdivision, if the board wants to ask for that, we can ask for, well, give us a different cut.
If you look at the way it's done, they are kind of clustered in this.
They cluster all up front.
Yeah, they're clustered in this area right
Okay.
here. And they're pretty close, and they're all, again, selected to be in these existing fields. There's nothing to disturb, it's
already cleared.
It's already cleared.
So if I had something in color, I'd be able to see that.
Okay. Would it help to have like a Google map, like satellite view, is that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, so what we'll do,
Major subdivision, yes.
what we'll do next is, we're probably gonna schedule a site visit so we can come see it. But the problem with the site visit, and Matt will agree to this, is there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the front end. And what I mean by that is he would need to go out and stake the road out so we can see where the center line of the road is. We know it's pre-existing, so that's not a big deal, but on a subdivision Matt just did, which was 50 acres, we're walking through the woods and trying to figure out where the center of the road is. It was a lot of work. So we would want to see on each lot where the driveway, center of the driveway is going to go, the housing location, and then where the septic's going to be on each lot. So times 8, that's 24 stakes plus the road. So there's a lot of work to do. Prior to us even getting that far and doing the site visit, we want to get a conceptual plan to make sure that this even makes sense.
Yeah.
We don't want to get out there and say, okay, yeah, we like 8, and we get out there and go, well, there's only 2 that fits. Because we've done that before. It didn't work. The land that they proposed compared to what we actually saw was way different. So we had a huge conceptual change. We actually changed that project 3 times. So we want to make sure that, like the items that Rick are mentioning with the heat map and some color coding, so that we can see those things from afar prior to us going there and we have to do it again. We don't want to do it twice.
So Matt, you probably got this in your package. If you didn't, I apologize. But when you came to the planning board, you would have gotten a package of what was necessary for a major subdivision. It's about 2 pages, 3 pages long. That's a summary of it, of the things that are necessary. So when you mentioned Google Maps,
Yeah, there's an aerial view on the checklist.
It's required.
Yeah.
We need to
Right, right.
That would make sense. So there's a whole bunch of things in that detailed package that you need to do. Driveways, if the driveways are extremely sloped, I can tell that most of them.
Driveway profile.
But you need to have the side view, whatever they call it, the engineer's
Profile.
profile. Certainly this road over here, if it's existing, that's one thing, but if it's, and anyway, so there's a lot of stuff that we still need.
I was hoping that this plan would be enough to kind of get us comfortable with the lot, dig into most,
Well, the lot layout, again, my immediate reaction, to be honest with you, is it's 20 houses. However, they are clustered, you're right, they're up on. I can't tell whether or not these buildings in the back, proposed barn, proposed pool, are they in the 100-foot buffer zone around the pond?
We talked about that. They need to figure that out.
I don't know.
Take a look at that.
So there are some of those kind of things that still need to be done.
All right, let's keep going.
Anyway,
Zach?
That's it right now.
I had a couple of questions, but they've already been answered.
Okay, Peter?
Do you know what the source of water for the pond is, spring?
It's
Or
actually
drainage?
Actually, there's the runoff from the slope, because you can see the slope here.
Yeah.
There's a culvert that goes along, a drainage, a long ditch and culvert that go, and so it's constantly being fed by that.
From what?
Where's the culvert?
Mountainous terrain?
From, I don't, just like either springs or rainwater.
But where's the culvert coming from? From the front of the property, back of it?
It goes along. Show you.
Actually, before you do that, just make sure it's on their next submission so we can see it. We don't need to.
Yeah, there's a big slope here along this whole thing. You can
Yes,
see where
yeah,
the contract.
yeah, just didn't know.
Everything goes down there at the bottom, that going along the whole way is a little drainage.
All right, so
Okay, so we just need that drainage detail. Anything else, Peter?
No, just I guess the distance from the stream to the pool complex, I think we need to.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. Contamination of the stream.
Of course.
That's a good class A stream.
Yeah, that's a beautiful stream, that's all.
The homeowner association is going to manage that pool and manage the cleanliness and cleaning and weed whacking, landscaping, all those things, road maintenance. Okay, Helena?
I really don't have much to add, except just to let you know that across the creek is an operational mine. And they're permitted for a very large crusher, 400 ton per hour crusher, which is not in there, but they are permitted. So you may want to think about moving your pool, because that was subject to a big hearing here in the town probably 20 years ago. So, if you're going to be constructing an outdoor pool 500 feet from an operational mine, it might create some headaches.
Are they planning to build? I have any doubt. I know that the mine's there. I don't know anything about their operation. Plan to do that? They can install something shortly?
They are permitted for a 400 ton per hour crusher.
Beautiful.
So,
Great.
and they use
Beautiful.
that mine, they don't use it every day, but if they get a job in this area, they're a large heavy duty contractor. They have the right from the Department of Environmental Conservation to bring that crusher. So, you might just want to be,
Heads up.
just giving you a heads up.
So that's Metro Crushing and Recycling is on the other side, owned by a guy named Mark Servodone.
Oh, yeah.
I know Mark.
I know you know.
Okay, so he has a large excavation quarry
Yeah, he's a
operation.
heavy duty contractor, does roads, landfills.
Right, and he's out of Albany, but that site has been very unused for the last 15 years. I think it's sort of like it's a leftover, it's like an afterthought.
No,
but-
well, because I was involved with that hearing, and so the way his business model is, if he has a job in Ulster County, he will get the aggregate from there. So it'll be,
It could go a year or 10
It
years.
could be 10 years and it's gonna be semi-dormant, and then boom,
Yep.
there's gonna be 100 trucks a day.
Right.
And so.
He just did a project down in Honk Lake and he was trucking it there.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's some history for it, some feedback.
How does that jive with the town's noise law?
It doesn't.
Natural resource,
That was pre-existing before our codes, I guess. I don't know.
that's in the natural resource zoning district. And they just have a time frame on when they can run. So they can only operate between X hours and X hours.
Construction.
In the natural resource center, in the natural resource district, zoning district regulation.
But I believe that was permitted previously, prior to the town.
And similar to the ones on Rochester Center.
So Elena, the lake's.
Something else?
Huh?
Lake was a port.
No, the pond?
That was a bluestone quarry, wasn't it?
That I don't know, because that was
So
never
that's
permitted.
that's groundwater.
I would think so, but I've never walked that road.
That was a bluestone.
So it's filled with groundwater.
And actually, it's coming to me.
This one? Our one?
So,
Yeah.
Could be.
well, I mean, I'm just a lowly trained geologist.
Yeah.
I look at the look at the.
The water is unbelievably
Look at the color
clear.
of the water
It is.
on here.
But I don't know.
Laminate.
Yeah,
I hope you're building a house there.
water's coming now. See, I accuse myself.
Okay, let's get back
Has
to,
nothing to do with this project, but I do have something.
go ahead,
Peter, you could be helpful.
Recreation.
Peter.
Yo,
No, this is for you.
the road, the main track here that's going from the main road all the way back to the pool, proposed pool. we have it in the code that you need to have pull-offs for fire trucks.
Every
Like to
500
get
feet.
the lane.
Every 500 feet.
I believe that's it.
But is the width of the road, is it determined by the width of the road? If the road is 24 feet wide, is that sufficient?
I think it has to, I think the private roads, I'm not 100% sure, but I think private roads have to adhere to the standards of town roads.
Right, so it's 18-foot minimum with pull-offs or a 24-foot road without them.
And is this
So
one,
this is 18 foot.
So then you would need pull-offs every 500 feet. And they have to be 20 feet long
3 foot shoulders on either side.
and a 20-foot length pull-off.
So we can.
Pull a fire truck.
Fire truck.
So you can either make the road 24 feet wide and not do that.
Yeah.
Or keep it at 18 and have X amount of pull-offs,
But even with the shoulders, you're saying,
24 feet. It's gotta meet building code. So when I go to when we get to the end of this project, when I go to the fire guys, I go, hey, here you go, make sure that this meets standard. They're gonna either say it doesn't and it needs pull-offs, or it meets town road standards.
the shoulder doesn't count, because the shoulders usually, it's fairly soft or whatever.
Yeah.
The pull-offs have to be crushed stone.
And they gotta be 20 feet long.
all right,
It's all in the code.
sure.
All right,
So, I mean, do you think we're able to stake out building?
So let's do this
locations?
for the next meeting in October. I'd like is bring us back some more detail with some color, multiple pages and some heat maps. So we can identify to make sure the slopes meet the layout. Then we'll pull the board and see if everything works based on what we have. Then I would ask you to stake it, because I don't want you to stake it and then 2 lots have to go away because they don't meet the grade requirements. And now we're only at
Right.
8 or 9, whatever the number is.
I mean, I can assure you right now, everything east of this main slope meets the grade point, which is where all the homes are.
Okay.
It's very gently sloped.
Okay.
But it's where all the homes are gonna go.
I mean, if you feel comfortable with it and you think that that's not gonna be an issue, then go ahead and stake it. We'll set aside this. Okay.
With the homes and drive.
Okay. If you feel good about it, you're the engineer, then stake it and we'll come walk it. If you want another opinion before, I just don't want you to pay twice. So, it's up to you guys how you want to do it. But let's set escrow. You guys can come up with a plan and let us know when you're coming back. All right. So, what's that?
You still have us.
Yeah, that's great. So we'll do escrow similar to the last one at 7,500. You can make that to the town of Rochester, get that to Jasmine. Once we get that, then Matt can have a new submittal and we'll get Dave and CPL involved.
Can we use your online system to pay?
Sure, whatever you want.
Is that okay?
As long as she's the money lady. Whenever she gets it, I'm
I
gonna.
knew you have it online.
For escrow.
What's that?
Make sure you put for
For
escrow and your application name. Things get lost.
Okay, see you when we see you.
Great, thanks a lot. everyone.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Good job. Good work. Matt, you can't go anywhere, unfortunately. You can slide though. Okay, new maps coming your way. Our last application tonight, 2024-27, a minor subdivision in another R5 district. This is on Ginger Road over by Mohawk, for Gilda Mancini Children's Trust. I want to be a children in that trust. Matt Town, Willingham Engineering. This is 55 Ginger Road. We do have a really beautiful RMA in the file already of an existing road maintenance agreement where all the private roads are already on board with this. So huge work on the front end. Thank you, Matt and team. The applicant's proposing a 4-lot subdivision of 24 acres in an R5 district. So Dave, first thing up for you will be to review the RMA. That's a good one. They have their own association, their own EIN number. Everybody contributes. It's a pretty good plan. It's all heated.
And we have the approval from each one of them.
It's in the file. In the file, yep. So Matt, give us the 30-second elevator speech here.
Sure, so it's 24.5 acres, it's a minor subdivision in the R5 zoning district. There's an existing single-family home in site that's on lot 1. We're proposing 3 new single-family residential lots. They're all over 5 acres in size. Access is off Ginger Road, which is a private road.
Yep.
Road maintenance agreement marked and spoke about. It's gonna be over 1 acre disturbance, so we'll get a switch.
Thank you.
There are these COE regulated wetlands, that's the pond. There's DEC class C stream that runs through the property. That's all on the north side where no development proposed over there.
Okay.
There's Core Forest on the east side of the property. This abuts Mohonk Preserve. It starts to get really steep as you go to the east, so we're obviously staying out of that area.
Are there any easements that go to Mohonk that are in the deed?
There are no easements that I'm aware of.
Okay, so what we historically, Mohonk, anytime a subdivision was done that abutted a Mohonk property, Mohonk would either ask for an easement or there would be an existing easement to gain access in the event of they needed it. If it's not in the deed already, then they obviously don't have the purview to ask for it now. But we like those board, for those of you tenured, you remember we did the Manny Patinkin subdivision that had 3 accesses and 4 easements, and that was all Mohonk restricted. So we need a copy of the deed if you haven't provided it, I don't know. But if you did, we're just gonna make sure that Dave's gonna restrict those Mohonk easements and access just to make sure that that's covered. So just checking the box because it could come up. The private road, are you proposing to bring the private road up to better standards? And the reason I ask is because if you're not, that's fine, but I need to get a letter from Highway, making sure that the road meets private road standards.
We're open to that, but we're not, we're not proposing it as it is.
Okay, so we'll need a letter to Highway, and make sure that it's up to private road standards. So we will send that to them and ask, and they'll get back to us with that. I'll get this over to the fire also, just to make sure that they have, their issues laid out, if any. That's in the Clove Accord 1, or is that Allergerville?
It's all Accord Fire.
Accord Fire District, so we'll get it over to those guys, okay? I'm gonna start with Helena this time, if that's okay, Zorian. Okay, Helena?
I'm just going from the environmental.
Sure.
You have a bald eagle nest a mile to the north. So you're gonna have to get signs that you can see. I have questions, about access to these sites. I know that road very well. I do live on that road further, but, concerns about the protections of the streams. I'm not sure if the bridge can handle concrete trucks. I haven't been down that road in a while.
The Ginger Road Bridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah. And, I know, so the Cox and Kill come from the south. It's, I believe, a Class B, and then as it comes down here, as it flows to the north, it branches off and you get more into the wetlands. So, it's really hard to see where the stream is on this map. So, and it is a CT stream.
Any named stream, we need 100 feet buffer from the highest water mark, so just throw that on.
And then it turns into a wetland, so I'm not quite sure where the wetland boundary is.
We'll
here,
need that
too.
to be labeled.
So-
Now, hang on, Helena. Now, do you need C39 sand for septic because of that? Or
Say it again. Oh,
C39,
that's
these,
concrete stand.
is that required based on DEC wetlands or anything on that bordering
For
of
septic,
Mohonk?
we don't get involved in that. So, I mean, and
So
engineering.
you're gonna, so on the engineering side, you're gonna need Board of Health approval, and because of that stream and Mohonk, I don't know if there's any DEC specific septic requirements. It's just a question.
No, not.
I mean,
That would be Board of Health.
Board of Health, okay. Okay, so septic, obviously, we'll add that
So,
to it.
yeah, so that's it for me for now.
We'll come back to you. We might have something else. Peter?
Yeah, I have to say I have major concerns about the road.
Okay.
Question, and I don't know the answer to this, is when you're adding a subdivision onto a private road, do they need to have permission from the existing homeowner?
We already have that.
It's from all the existing homeowners?
It's in there.
Okay.
Yep.
I have major concerns about the road. The size of the road is very narrow. It's paved to the bridge. And then the bridge is, my question is, what is that bridge rated for?
Exactly.
Because that bridge is small. I measured it, it's 11.5 feet between the rails, the size of that bridge.
Oh, wow.
It's tight.
Okay.
And we have had a fire on the very end of that road. And it was a cluster.
Understood.
It was winter, we had access to the road was maintained really well, but we had trouble getting water in there, had trouble getting all the apparatus in there, no place to turn around, and no turnouts in that road at all. We had to dive into people's driveways, and so that's a major, major concern.
So Matt, that's gonna be a highway hiccup and the fire hiccup, because if you don't have the pull-offs, we're gonna need to add them. That could be an easement on somebody's property, potentially. Depending on where,
Has remained wired.
right, depending on where it lines up, the road might need to be wider, so could have a hiccup there with fire and highway, just keep that in mind.
The bridge may need to be replaced.
Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna have to do a bridge,
Yeah,
And that's not a town.
I don't know.
well, you crossed the fire, well, you were going no matter what, it didn't matter.
You know,
Well, no, so if the fire truck is on both ends, the weight's evenly distributed, right?
Anything else? That sounds
yeah,
like a lot.
Yeah, the road. And
The road.
And the bridges, yes.
Okay.
But it's on the historic register, but I wasn't sure what was historic.
Oh, that.
Oh,
SHPO.
You got a SHPO letter there?
Yeah, you meant there was a hit for it. Thank you for reminding me.
So we don't need to answer it now, but we'll just add that as a condition for SHPO. Okay, Zach?
My concern was the road and anything that has to be addressed with the preserve, if anything.
Yeah.
Needs to be addressed.
Yeah, so once you get the deed over, have you already submitted the deed?
He's
Okay.
not in the final.
Okay, so we'll need a deed, and I need to get that, once Dave reviews the RMA, he's gonna review the deed to see if there's any Mohawk easements, because that's historically, just from being on the board, every subdivision we've done in Mohawk has an easement on it. And so we need to outline that location where it is. That easement needs to be located on the map. So if it is there, that's the proposal. Obviously, when we go to highway and fire, we're gonna talk about driveways and culverts and all that, but we'll get there in a second.
And same thing with, there's a lot of covenants on the houses in the code as well that have to do with protecting the preserve. So that should be carried if this goes through to those houses actually. Wow.
Peter?
I have one more thing.
Yep.
Which is, when I was looking on the parcel viewer for this, it looked almost like there was another stream that was on that property in front of the other proposed lots. And I wasn't sure whether that was a drainage.
You stole my thunder.
Sorry.
That's okay.
To the, whether that was a drainage to the.
I have it, is it a drainage or a culvert? I don't know what it is.
Looks like, it shows up on the parcel viewer for the other proposed lots.
Right.
As a seasonal stream.
Some sort of a.
Something, so I just wanted to make sure that was.
Yeah, is it a tributary? What is it? We need it labeled. And if it is a seasonal, or it runs into a name stream, that's 100 feet from that water.
Yeah, and getting back to, that was one of my other comments, but just so you know, there's a tremendous amount of water coming off that ridge. It's all chunk of conglomerate, so it's flashy. And that could be where that other stream is. And as the elevation changes, that, you see some braided.
Yeah, I can't tell if it runs into
Yeah,
a
it's
name
unclear
stream.
from
Is it a
here.
tributary?
Yeah.
We did a subdivision up on Upper Queens Highway, I like to call it. That was off of Doug Road on that side. And we ended up finding, Zorian did, that the stream that was seasonal ended up being a tributary of the named stream.
Right.
And it was the Gray Brook, if I remember correctly. And that ended up being a new sort of process that we went down a rabbit hole, but it ended up, we needed to do some more work to find out if that stream is seasonal, year-round, named, blah, blah, blah. So you guys are all set? Rick?
I'm glad I have so many knowledgeable people in the environment on the board. I feel like I don't know as much as I thought I knew. But, so I'm glad you guys commented on that. I tried to match up the maps that I could get online and the property to see where the streams were. I was having difficulty, but so it sounds like you're gonna have to do that here.
Yeah,
You're gonna
I'll make sure.
This also needs to be color coded, quote unquote, heat map. I see the pond, but the map that I was looking at had a lot of wetlands, what looked like wetlands.
Right.
So that all needs to be delineated, to be able to tell the difference between delineation. I do know about the fact that you've got a lot of runoff there from that whole area, enormous amount of runoff, so you may actually need, even though I don't know, you may need to do a SWIP just to handle all this runoff that goes where the runoff is going to be handled. It's like your other project that we did where you had the culverts under everything that connected in such a way that it got to the stream that was carrying all that runoff. So where's the runoff going? And there was one more, the size of the road, again, the trucks. I don't know where the heck you put a pull-off, given the nature of this area. No idea where you put the pull-off. So it's environment, oh, I mentioned the deed, it's not in the file. You're gonna need to do a long form here. The short form doesn't have it, given all the environmental things that go in there. You have to do a long form. And part of the long form might have identified the fact that there are eagles in the area, eagle nested in the area. And I think in spite of the fact that it's only 3 more homes, we're gonna need a bugs and bunny study back here, environmental study of plants, flora and fauna, what's going on here. That certainly would have identified.
Do you want to just get Bruce involved to do, maybe he can hit it all?
Well, he could get involved with the client paying for it, or he does it, Bruce will review.
That's fine too, yeah.
I'd rather let the client do it and Bruce.
So you have a wetlands, I'm sure you use North Country or somebody who you use, okay, yeah, perfect.
You more than likely have timber somewhere. You've got.
But you also have, and thank you for reminding me, there's a preponderance of herps, all kinds of snakes, and then also, box turtles and wood turtles.
So you're gonna need somebody who knows
So
what they're
when you
doing.
said
when it
fucking
comes to
bugs and
identifying
bunnies.
stuff.
I'm
And
with
then
you.
it goes to Bruce, our guy, to take a look at what you've done. So all that's gonna be done, and that would have come out presumably when you did the long form, that the DEC has already identified what might be in this area. But since the DEC has limited resources, you're gonna have to do your own study. And North Country is one of them. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, North Country. Yeah, you use, Michael's great too.
So there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. It looks like an easy subdivision, but
Do you want a escrow set or you want to think about all this?
I guess,
I'll do 3,000 if that helps you.
yeah, I mean, that's fine. I think probably the first step is.
You got a lot to
looking at
cross,
the
right?
road.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to do that before you come back, before we set escrow? I don't want,
Yeah, I mean, is that a site meeting with the highway super?
so you could schedule that yourself. You can go through Jasmine and get a highway meeting scheduled. Historically, what he would do is you bring an email to him as your concerns as to what we talked about today. And then he goes out and does a visit, and then he'll meet with us.
I want to make sure.
I'd like to get fire involved at the same time if we're gonna do that.
Fire needs to be there.
Yeah, so,
I would like that site visit.
okay, so then get with Jasmine, get something scheduled, and,
This is a good example, to me, when I looked at it, of a private road that has grown up around it. So, you know, it's a question of that road, when it was originally put in, what was there, 1 or 2 houses, like, I think 10 houses, 10 properties on that road now. And so we want to make sure that we can service and protect, 3 additional ones as well as existing ones. Right. But it's a good example that road was small, originally, because there's probably 1 or 2 houses down there, and it's just expanded. So at some point, the infrastructure has to expand with it.
and that deed is important too, because where the property line actually meets could be, I'll use a round number, 10 feet off of the road. So that giving the ability for that road to expand, or it could be the center line of the private road is the ending of the meets and bounds. And now everybody on the property has to agree that they're gonna give up their property to let the road expand. So, like I've lived on a road that was a town road, the center of my property, which was a single lane town road, was in the middle of the road. So they couldn't expand the road without anybody allowing it. And nobody said, okay,
Yeah,
so now we have a single lane road.
Survey, and it was done by Hillary Bowl. It's a private road within a 50-foot right of way.
Okay.
So there should be.
So you have adequate ability to expand the road. So you might not need the highway or the fire if you're going to bring the road up to road standards.
How far?
Bridge.
And then.
The bridge is the biggest.
The bridge, if you will need require DEC sign.
Yeah, because it's a
You're gonna-
DEC.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
To cross that stream? To.
Well, no, I mean.
Well, no, you're gonna do the bridge evaluation yourself to see what it can hold.
But if it doesn't meet.
But if it doesn't meet, then you gotta go to.
Bridge or.
Yeah, the bridge is gonna be.
I think it will.
That might kibosh the whole project.
Well, either it does meet or it doesn't. How heavy is a truck? 10 tons.
No, 30, 40.
Fire truck could be 40 tons.
And you said they've been over it. Fire trucks have been over it.
I've driven across
It
there.
wasn't,
I mean, fire trucks have been over it.
Good start.
yeah, but
You
we,
gotta go by capacity.
Yeah, you'll have to do a bridge evaluation. We'll need that. You know, you're the stamp.
We went across it because somebody's garage was on fire and burning. So
Sure.
this
Understood.
visualization.
right.
Okay, Matt, good enough for now, if that's all right with you. Do you want me to set escrow or you want to wait? We got so much.
You can set it.
You want to set? Okay, we'll do 3,000.
So this is not a town,
This is a private road.
so it's not a town.
I don't believe so, but I need to see the deed in order to find that out. The bridge might be owned by the town. I don't.
So in terms of capacity of the bridge, Matt, we're gonna need an engineer to say,
Got it.
have some sign on it.
Yeah. Okay, we have a couple more things to do, and then I'd like to make a proposal to add something to the agenda. So first things first is the approval of the July 8th, 2024 meeting minutes. Can I have a motion for that? Zach, can I have a second by Peter?
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Annual training hour requirements, I went over those already. Rick needs a half hour. Everybody else has enough for this calendar year. Most of you have rollover, so if.
Can I trade?
Huh?
Can I trade?
No, you can't give it up. But
Training teachers.
as I like to always promote training, we like to have those stockpiled, so do your training if you want. There are available trainings you can get with Jasmine. Items are available. If not, there's available on websites across the state. The next thing is I'd like to make a recommended resolution that the Town of Rochester Planning Board motion to enter into executive session at 9:17 p.m. for the purposes of discussion of advice of counsel and planner, of planner. Motions of policy. So if I can have that motion.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll say.
That goes to Zach and Rick, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I need a 5-minute break.
We'll turn off the Zoom. Go ahead, Rick.